KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Eggland's Best.
I'm Michael Wallace. Snow is causing headaches for some Thanksgiving travelers in the upper plains and upper Midwest today. Plows are busy in North Dakota, where whiteout conditions have closed some interstates. In Minnesota, Eric Figgins is with Ramsey County's Public Works Department.
This one's going to be scrape what we can off the roads and get salt down behind the trucks immediately. As soon as you move the snow, you're going to have ice, and that's what we're going to need the salt to keep that from freezing too bad.
In the southeast, heavy rain could be an issue. CBS's Peter King is in Orlando.
Most of this week's estimated 82 million travelers are expected to drive.
We're at 305 per gallon as a national average.
AAA spokesman Robert Sinclair Jr. calls $3 the pain threshold. That is, the point where people start considering alternatives to driving. But the Auto Club's Thanksgiving survey shows that is not expected to be a problem this year.
With 90% of those who are taking a Thanksgiving trip driving to their destination.
Peter King, CBS News.
President Trump says there are only a few remaining points of disagreement as he pushes his peace proposal to end the war between Russia and Ukraine.
We won't know for a little while, but we're making progress.
The BBC's Steve Rosenberg says there's been no official response from Russia yet.
Judging by the silence, the reluctance of Kremlin officials to say very much about this, something is happening. The Kremlin feels probably that there is a chance that a deal could be struck that benefits Russia.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is not happy the deal would have his country surrender territory to Russia. The National Park Service is raising entry fees, but only for foreigners. CBS's Stacey Lynn.
About 100 U.S. national parks charge you to get in. And now the cost for international tourists will go up to $100. The Interior Department says the money made off the new fees will help support the parks and pay for upgrading facilities and maintenance.
Those new fees will kick in January 1st. CBS's Michael George reports there's new research that suggests drinking coffee could slow the aging process of people with severe mental illness.
A study in Norway found drinking as many as 3 or 4 cups of coffee daily had a beneficial effect for people with psychosis, schizophrenia, or bipolar disorder. While the cause of the anti-aging effect isn't clear, the study's authors say it could be the antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds found in coffee.
The study says those coffee drinkers could live 5 years longer than people who don't drink coffee. Futures are higher on this day before Thanksgiving. S&P futures are up 20, Dow futures up 51, and NASDAQ futures up 100, as Wall Street looks to go into the holiday on a high note. This is CBS News.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
It is 6:03, and right now we've got mostly clear skies and 35 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman, the man who helped create the Zoo Museum District and led St. Louis in the late 70s, has passed away.
Former Mayor James Conway died Tuesday at Mercy Hospital at the age of 93. Before taking to City Hall, Conway served in the state legislature, where he was instrumental in the bill that set up the Zoo Museum District and ensured free admission at the zoo. During his time as mayor, his administration oversaw the start of major projects like the redevelopment of Union Station and the St. Louis Center shopping mall. His son, former Alderman Stephen Conway, tells the Post-Dispatch his father was, quote, really strong on historic preservation. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
And when will the city of St. Louis use all its ARPA money?
Just given the constraints that we're under with the programming, et cetera, but we are truly focusing on it. And I am very, very confident that we are moving forward in the best possible way.
St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer on KMOX with Chris and Amy, speaking about the struggles of spending the nearly $500 million allotted by the federal government in ARPA money. About half of that money has been spent for the 411 projects listed.
It is a Herculaneum task at this point.
The deadline to spend the remaining $280 million is December of 2026. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
A downtown charter school is ordered to close over safety deficiencies following an investigation by a former St. Louis police chief.
Sam Dodson was asked by the Missouri Public Charter School Commission to do the investigation after a child walked away from St. Louis Voices Academy of Media Arts in the Park Pacific building last month, and none of the staff knew about it. The commission says in a letter to SLVA, Dotson concluded the school faces persistent safety and security risks that warrant corrective action, potentially exceeding what can be addressed while the school operates in its current manner. Because of the conclusion, the school is closed to in-person classroom instruction until further notice by the commission. The school cannot reopen after the Thanksgiving holiday, although it can temporarily hold virtual classes. Maria Aquino, KMOX News.
Festus City Council members unanimously voted to rezone 240 acres for a massive new data center, but some residents say the decision ignores the reality of their quiet community. During more than 2 hours of public comment on Monday night, neighbor Matt Drynan told the council claiming the vote was only about zoning was misleading.
When someone says, we're not voting on a data center, they are avoiding the truth. This site is surrounded by homes, wells, and farms with minimal industrial land nearby. Look at the zoning map. The parcel is ringed by quiet residential and agricultural use.
While neighbors are concerned about quality of life, city officials and union supporters argue the project is a chance to bring significant investment and jobs to the area.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker recently signaled he might be open to tweaking the SAFETY Act, the state's controversial criminal justice reform law. State Representative Patrick Windhorst says Republicans have specific fixes ready to go.
Our working group has ideas to reform the SAFETY Act that would address a lot of the issues we're seeing, correct a lot of the problems that we've been warning about.
Windhorst says he hopes the governor is aware of their proposals and wants the Speaker of the House to call them for a vote.
The day after Thanksgiving is often one of the busiest days of the year for plumbers.
That's because people put more things down the sink and garbage disposal than they should. John Shupp, plumbing field manager with Hoffman Brothers, tells KMOX in many cases, people's pipes are already starting to have problems.
With a lot of older plumbing and some newer plumbing. Sometimes you have these underlying issues and these partial blockages in the lines, and then all of a sudden you have these parties and you have a lot of people come over, and it's just enough to clog it up all the way.
Some of the big culprits include grease, potato peels, celery stems, and broccoli. He adds chemical drain openers can actually make the blockage harder to clear for the professionals. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Holiday travelers heading through Columbia, Missouri today should expect delays on eastbound 70. MoDOT is closing the right lane just west of St. Charles Road for emergency pavement repairs. That closure is scheduled to last from 4 a.m. to noon, and officials are warning drivers to expect backups. We'll check in with Roger Brand on any early issues in just 2 minutes.
The business desk is sponsored by Krantz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. The St. Louis area getting another Costco, this time in Lake St. Louis. The Seattle-based company has filed a rezoning request for property at Lake St. Louis Boulevard in Hawk Ridge Circle. According to the Business Journal, Costco plans a 195,000 square foot store and gas station that would be about 10 miles from its St. Peter's location. Construction could start next summer pending approval.
It's 6:08.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
At Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, every moment with our patients is a gift. This holiday season, you can be the reason children have hope as they fight serious illness and reach milestones once thought impossible. Your gift provides life-saving care to those who need it most. Please donate today at treeofhope.org and be the reason a child has hope for tomorrow.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
6:10 and time to check in with Roger Brand. He's in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we still have our two issues out there. We're just going to start with Manchester Road, though, because it may be restricted for an extended period of time. I know today's a very busy travel day, so if for some reason you would normally be taking Manchester eastbound to get on to 270 to head up to Lambert Field, just be advised you can't do it. You can't get past Barrett Station anyway. If you're east of Barrett Station, that's fine, but Manchester is currently closed east of Barrett Station due to a serious crash. And I believe they're looking for the driver. They said one person was missing. I don't know how they'd know that unless the driver physically wasn't there. There was one person in the car. But anyway, it hit a power pole and took wires down across Manchester is the reason Manchester's closed. So eastbound Manchester right now is being diverted onto Barrett Station, southbound to Doherty Ferry to get you over to 270. Now, you can obviously go that way, but just be advised it's going to take you a few minutes longer than normally would. So just plan accordingly. And, of course, you're going to have to plan accordingly. I don't know how long the waiting is going to be standing in line at Lambert Field this morning either. And then the other delays, eastbound 70 still backed up, approaching Wright City. It opens up a little bit before you even get midway into Forestel, though, so it looks like maybe they're getting that roadwork picked up on the front end. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Very windy today, much cooler than yesterday, with sunshine and some clouds. Our high about 45. Partly cloudy and cold tonight, but the wind will steadily diminish, low 29. Tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day, will turn out mostly sunny, breezy, and quite chilly, the high 44. Friday, sunshine mixing with clouds and cold, the high 40. From the Sliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Chilly out there right now. It's 35 degrees in downtown St. Louis. Feels like 20 degrees with the wind. Weather sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's early Black Friday deals are going fast. Get up to 50% off select major appliances, plus up to an extra 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. Valid through 12/3. Selection varies by location. Select locations only while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
It is 6:12, and the decision of whether or not to remove Sheriff Alfred Montgomery from office now rests with Judge Stephen Omer after the trial wrapped up Tuesday with closing arguments.
The attorneys general focused on tying together the testimony and evidence, including their video footage showing Montgomery's actions to justify his removal from office. Their counts for his removal include retaliating against former employees, having a deputy transport his kids to and from school in a department vehicle, and having the deputy commissioner of the jail detained. The defense, focused on dismantling their case, doesn't believe they reached the bar for removal. Sheriff's Attorney David Mason.
There really wasn't a lot of evidence to support where they were going. You know, talking about how judges rule in other cases like this really isn't the best argument because you're supposed to look at quo warranto very individually.
Judge Stephen Omer provided no timeline for a decision. He only needs to side with the attorneys general on one of their 6 counts against Montgomery for him to be removed from office. Outside the Carnahan Courthouse, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Later this hour, Sean Malone questions Montgomery's attorney about why a key reason they believe he shouldn't be removed from office wasn't a part of their closing argument.
Following a voter rejection last year, 2 separate groups are reviving plans to build casinos at the Lake of the Ozarks.
St. Louis developer Jeff Tegeloff's firm is funding a new effort to get a constitutional amendment on the ballot for a $400 million private casino near Bagnell Dam. That's according to the Post-Dispatch. Separately, the Osage Nation is pursuing a $60 million project that requires federal and a sign-off by Governor Mike Kehoe. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Value City Furniture has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and will close 33 stores nationwide. The Ohio-based company has 5 stores in the St. Louis area, and the one on Chippewa and Shrewsbury will close. The company's CEO, in a release, said macroeconomic headwinds have impacted the entire home furnishing industry. Value City Furniture was founded in 1948.
The St. Charles County judge who agreed to resign for dressing as Elvis and impersonating him during court proceedings has had a change of heart. Now, attorneys for Judge Matthew Thornhill say the investigation was tainted, and Thornhill agreed to resign before key evidence, namely photos of him as Elvis, were released publicly, making news internationally. Thornhill's legal team says he was the target of a crusade by the presiding judge in St. Charles, who's a close friend of the person conducting the investigation against him. They're asking the Missouri Supreme Court to impose no more than a 60-day suspension instead of the recommended 6 months with no pay.
The pastry team at the Chase Park Plaza have been assembling a gingerbread village in the hotel lobby. It's a gingerbread replica of the hotel itself, the Central West End, and the Gateway Arch. The village will consist of approximately 100 pounds of gingerbread, 80 pounds of royal icing, and 25 pounds of assorted candy. It takes about a month from start to bake and then a day or more to assemble. It'll be on display in the lobby through January 1st. Don't nibble on it.
You're not allowed to eat it?
No.
Okay.
Maybe after January 1st.
It's 6:15. The Cardinals made a trade yesterday, Sonny Gray to the Red Sox for pitching prospect Brandon Clark, the number 5 prospect in the Red Sox organization. He's in Class A at the moment. And Richard Fitz, who has elevated to the major leagues and has served as a starter and projects as a back-end starter in the rotation. The Cardinals' rebuild is clearly underway. Here's President of Baseball Operations, Chaim Bloom.
Yeah, to me, it's exactly consistent with everything that I've been talking about for the past couple months. I laid this out, when I spoke to you guys for the first time in late September. We have somewhere we need to go. We're not there now. And the way to get there is through building on our core of talent and having promising young talent that can be with us for many years and that have their best ahead of them, we hope. And so, we talked about it, that sometimes the long-term might conflict with the short-term. Sonny's a really talented pitcher. There's no doubt about that. But I said it then, I'm going to say it again. When those two things run in opposite directions, we're going to choose the long-term because that's where this organization needs to be. We're trying to get back to a certain place and stay there. And history has shown that the way the Cardinals always do that is with our young, talented core. So we're trying to build on that core and excited about these two guys and what they're going to mean for us as part of that.
I'm Bloom, and the Cardinals are motivated. They gave the Red Sox reportedly up to $20 million to cover part of Sonny Gray's salary. College football playoff rankings are out. They are the same in the top 5: Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Texas Tech. Oregon moves up 1 spot over Ole Miss. Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Alabama wrap up the top 10. You have to be an ACC champion to make it to the college football playoff. Miami, unfortunately, has 2 losses, so they have a difficulty getting to the ACC championship game and moving in their spot. Virginia and Southern Methodist. Virginia and SMU are both 6-1 in conference play, and there's a group of 5 component here, and Tulane is currently the highest ranked of the group of 5 teams. That is still to be determined as well, the highest ranked conference champion beyond the Power 4. Also, keeping an eye on hockey, the Blues trying to pick themselves back up. Tough loss at Madison Square Garden just a couple of days ago to the Rangers. They visit the Devils tonight, 6 o'clock faceoff. I'm Tom Ackerman. Mizzou runs its record as 7-0 in college basketball. We'll take a look at hoops on the way in a half hour.
There is nothing like watching Thanksgiving football, but for football fans in Missouri, this year FanDuel is about to make it even better. With points giving, all FanDuel customers in Missouri get $1 in bonus bets for every point scored in the Chiefs-Cowboys game. So, for example, if the final score is 24-21, you'd get $45 in bonus bets. Doesn't matter if you've already signed up for FanDuel or if you've been waiting for the right moment to join. Just head to FanDuel.com/Missouri to get in on the action in Missouri. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri to score bonus bets for every point in the Chiefs-Cowboys game. Enjoy a football feast with points giving on FanDuel, coming soon to Missouri. 21 and over and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
Black Friday also applies to McKelvey Homes. This is Tom Ackerman for McKelvey Homes. Black Friday event of the year, the best home offer of the year. It ends Monday at midnight. Multiple neighborhoods, 1 week, your last chance for these deals. 4.75% financing on move-in ready homes. Lock in exceptional rates with McKelvey Homes right now. $25,000 off. Incredible savings from them, and $10,000 free cash to close on all homes. More money when you need it most, whether it's Cottleville Trails or Inverness, Summerlin, the Preserve, the final closeout for that South County location. It's the Black Friday event of the year from McKelvey Homes, building a tradition of excellence since 1898. Move up to McKelvey, McKelveyhomes.com.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:20, and this is Wednesday, November 26th. Time to check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we've got troubles over in Des Peres on Manchester Road. This traffic reports the service of the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. We've been talking about it since it happened. Manchester east of Barrett Station closed. A serious rescue crash. Reportedly, the driver missing. Wires down across Manchester Road is the main problem. The police advise us that Manchester Road is going to be closed for an extended period of time. They don't know how long. And again, that's both directions, just east of Barrett Station. So again, if you're headed to work, plan accordingly. If you're planning on heading out of town, I don't know how much time you're building into, to park and get into Lambert, but if you normally would travel eastbound Manchester past Barrett Station, you're going to have to add that into your equation. You're being diverted for now onto Barrett Station southbound to Doherty Ferry. So just be advised of that situation. Again, sounds like it's going to be out there for a while. We still got the delays eastbound 70. It's better, but there's still a jam through Wright City. It opens up just immediately east of Wright City. So it looks like the roadwork's getting picked up, but there's still a bumper to bumper backup in the area. Times are always changing, but Penn Mutual stands the test of time. The 178-year Young Mutual Company is leading the way in life insurance. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. Next update is 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, it's going to be a cold one today. Not as cold as what we're going to get coming up here in the next couple of days. A high of 45, but windy and much cooler with some sunshine and some clouds. Now, tonight, we get down to 29. That wind will diminish, and tomorrow we'll have a breezy, sunny day, but still chilly, a high of 44. Friday, the high is just 40, and we cloud up Friday night. A bit of snow late, says AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A low near 30 Friday night. Saturday, breezy, cold with snow mixing with and likely changing to rain, a high of 39 degrees. That's it for Saturday. It's 35 right now downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:22. A key defense teased by former judge turned sheriff Alfred Montgomery's attorney David Mason was never brought up in court yesterday during closing arguments. Sean Malone questioned Mason on why it never came to light.
Judge, I want to go back to Friday if I can. You said that you hope to show during closing arguments that Sheriff Montgomery has changed for the better and some of the mistakes he made won't happen again. Do you think you effectively defended your candidate in that angle in particular?
I would like to have said more in that regard. You try to gear your closing argument, it's called reading the room. And as I read the room with this particular judge, I wasn't really sure if that was necessarily on his plate. However, there's plenty of evidence in that regard. I think that, he's the kind of judge who's going to think about those kinds of things on his own. But my honest answer to your question is that I wish I had done more. But I think it's in the evidence for the court.
Why not bring that up with the judge then? Did you just think Omer wouldn't weigh it? Do you think that he wouldn't see it that way?
I needed more time than I actually had to really break down the actual hardcore aspects of the case. Because as was noted, 6 counts, and I had to deal with those counts. I was thinking about it, but I knew I had to close out on those counts. So I stuck with the main points that I think the judge would be most influenced by.
If Judge Omer extra 15 though, it was 45. You said you were ready for 45. You both went with an hour.
Well, that's the business of practicing law. It's like telling an interviewee, I'll only interview for 5 minutes, and then half an hour later you said, I'm sorry I took so much time. You just kind of see how it goes. And it took a bit longer to deal with what the state said than I anticipated, but I think I effectively dealt with the substance of their argument.
Could the busiest shopping day of the year be a thing of the past?
It's 4 a.m. The world is asleep. but you are on a mission.
We got the double screen, we got the single screens down there, and we do have a single screen right there.
You've been waiting all year for this. It's that American tradition that's become a holiday unto itself.
Black Friday. It's the biggest shopping day of the year, and we're giving you incredible savings.
The doorbusters. People lining up around the block before dawn trying to get that sweet deal on a TV or the season's gotta have toy. Maybe you've been a part of that bad scrum of holiday cheer.
Got hit in the face with a bag.
It got so crazy that the lines were blurred between reality and outright parody.
All the best deals are located in the very back of the store down a narrow aisle packed with merchandise. This is happening! This is happening!
But is it? Hi, Jill, is Black Friday really a thing anymore?
No.
Go ahead, pull out your phone right now, wherever you are, and nab that deal on an air fryer or a Labubu. You're done. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger tells us the Super Bowl of shopping is obsolete.
Who knows where this really came from? It's a bit of an old wives' tale that, this was the day that companies went into the black, went profitable. But that season, honestly, it starts as early as November 1st in many respects, so that retailers can get a jump on the consumer's wallet and gain our attention in these last 2 months of the year.
So Black Friday deals didn't go away. They're just spread out through what you might now call Black November. But are they really deals at all?
Retailers will inflate the prices right before Black Friday.
You're a nasty, wasty skunk.
Samantha Gordon with Consumer Reports tells us beware of those slashed prices.
They're not looking in the weeks before, so they don't see that those headphones that were $200 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, all of a sudden on Thanksgiving, they're $300. And then on Black Friday, they're $200 again. So it looks like you're saving $100 when really you're not saving anything at all if you had bought them a month ago.
So go wild and get those deals from the comfort of your couch, unless you want to dive in there with your fellow shoppers just for old time's sake.
We love Black Friday! We really don't.
That's KNX's Brian Ping.
You know what Black Friday was great for those of us in the news business who have to work the day after Thanksgiving and there's almost nothing going on. So you could focus on lines at the stores and interviewing people in line. And that doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah. I always liked the Roger Brand traffic reports on Black
over the
Friday.
malls. Have you ever slept
Parking.
out overnight on a...
Oh, gosh, no.
I know, me either. I never understood it, but I understand people loved
I
it.
would stand in line for, concert tickets back in the day.
Yeah.
Now that's a totally different online experience. Those are hard to get these
things
days.
change.
Yep. 627 Time Check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
Keep St. Louis, Budweiser Town, stockholders, don't sell out.
There, when headlines hit home.
Speculation started early. AB wouldn't buy InBev's offer of $65 a share.
We believe this is an exciting opportunity and a winning combination for multiple reasons.
Rito calls the buyout attempt the next natural step in a relationship with Anheuser-Busch.
It sucks. Blue-collar workers worried about an upcoming contract in March.
I think the deal is going to go through, but I think that it does add an element of risk.
It's a great day. We've worked very hard to get here. Now, of course, we have to focus on delivering.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Achieve more with competitive rates on savings and lending. Visit togethercu.org.
For 100 years, KMOX has been part of St. Louis. Now, Together Credit Union is helping celebrate that legacy. Starting in November, visit any Together Credit Union branch to pick up a KMOX 100th anniversary commemorative ornament for just $5 while supplies last. Each ornament supports Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis. Together Credit Union, honoring 100 years of KMOX, the voice of St. Louis, and Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis, improving the health of all children.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Ethos. My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
It is 6:30 and it's a chilly start to the morning, 35 degrees with mostly clear skies. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We have had an incident on Manchester Road in Des Peres for the last hour or so. Roger Brand, you're in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, Tom, there's still no change, and they don't know when they're going to reopen Manchester Road. They said it's going to be closed for an extended period of time. Manchester, just immediately east of Barrett Station. It was a crash where originally they said it was an ejection. They said the driver was missing, and the vehicle struck a power pole and took power lines down across Manchester. That's the reason why it's still shut down in both directions. Not much of a backup, thankfully, but eastbound Manchester drivers are going to be diverted onto Barrett Station southbound down to Doherty Ferry to access 270 from that point. So again, if you normally travel eastbound on Manchester through that area to get over to 270 to go to work, or if you're headed out for the holidays, just plan accordingly and add some extra time to your commute to take a different route, or take that route, which will take you just a little bit longer. Eastbound 70 still seeing a backup through Wright City proper, so approaching the city limits through the Wright City area. Once you get a little east of Wright City, things thin out. It was due to overnight road work, but there's still a jam there. We're building volume in other places, but really the rest of the highways still look to be in pretty good shape. I do see a little bit of a backup right now on the Illinois side on westbound 270 between 159 and 157. Could be an incident there. Next update at 6:40 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be very windy and much cooler today than yesterday, but we will have sunshine with a few clouds, a high of 45 degrees, 29 overnight. Thanksgiving Day will be mostly sunny, breezy with a high of 44. And then 40 as a high on Friday. It's 35 right now.
St. Louis homicide detectives have been called out after a body was found in the area of Bishop L. Scott at Sullivan. Police will only say the victim is an adult man.
A member of Congress from the Chicago area says her tour of an ICE processing facility showed her that it is unsuitable for the days-long detentions many detainees have reported. Jeff Buckles reports from Broadview.
West Suburban Democrat Lauren Underwood says she's been asking to get inside the facility for months. And by the time this tour happened, virtually no one was there.
They were updating their security systems and installing new security cameras. And so all detainees and staff were not present.
But she says she saw enough during her tour, including the 3 open toilets and holding cells.
Not in any way anything that any of us would be comfortable using.
To conclude this:
the way that immigrants and U.S. citizens have been treated here is unacceptable.
And she says she intends to return to inspect the facility again, especially given the billions of dollars the Trump administration has budgeted for immigration enforcement.
Oversight is essential.
News is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We'll check your Money Minute next at 6:33.
Chris and Amy standing up for the Lou.
We had a texter suggest that we use some of the Rams money to buy a high rise in Singapore and let it go down
and load it up with asbestos and
just let
mold.
that sit there. See how they feel about it.
Let's not be vindictive. No, let's be really vindictive. Screw Singapore if they're going to do this to us.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, taking receipts weekdays at 9 on KMOX.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. November is Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month, and joining us is Dr. Rohina Pani, WashU Medicine surgical oncologist at Siteman Cancer Center. Who is at risk for pancreatic cancer? Let's start there.
That's actually a very important question. The rise in pancreas cancer is not only in old patients, but it's something that's becoming more common in younger patients. But there's so much more that we need to know other than the traditional risk factors we have described, for example, genetics, lifestyle, environmental factors, and other medical factors. Therefore, increasing the awareness of lifestyle-related risks like obesity, diabetes, smoking, it's all crucial to prevent the trend in younger patients or older patients. So just a routine health screening for any of the medical risk factors is extremely, extremely important.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
It is 6:35. Total Information AM continues. I'm Debbie Monterrey along with Tom Ackerman. We'll check in with Roger Brand and our meteorologist Joe Lundberg coming up here in just 5 minutes. But first, your money report, sponsored by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, elder law attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett is seen by advisors and allies of President Trump as now the frontrunner to be the next Federal Reserve chair. The search for a new central bank leader is entering its final weeks. After yesterday's advance, futures this morning indicate a higher open on Wall Street. The U.S. government says it's negotiated a 71% discount off the list price of Ozempic and Wegovy for patients in Medicare. Those are the two blockbuster weight loss drugs from Novo Nordisk. And McKinsey cut about 200 global tech jobs in the past week. The consulting firm is joining the competition in using artificial intelligence to automate some of its positions. And the company isn't ruling out additional reductions across different functions over the next several years. HP Inc. gave a profit outlook for the current year that fell short of estimates. The company also said it will cut 4,000 to 6,000 employees through fiscal 2028 by using more AI tools. I'm John Tucker, Bloomberg Radio.
Hey there, it's Steven, the owner of the Photo Pros, formerly Creve Court Camera. Each day, people bring us their family history, single photos in need of restoration, piles of photos wanting them to be scanned, boxes of slides, albums, videotapes, DVDs, and even old home movies. We take them and digitize them, or what we call scan them at high resolution, and place them on a USB thumb drive. Plus, many people want additional copies for the rest of the family. Yes, we'll make you copies. Here's the best part. You don't have to send them out of St. Louis and have the chance of losing them. If needed, we can fix or restore the entire image or images. We are slightly higher priced than the internet, but our quality is top notch. Remember the Photo Pros, formerly Creve Court Camera. Come visit Mark, Derek, Daryl, Tony, and me, Steven, at our store. You can reach us at 314-567-3456 or Google the Photo Pros or even Creve Court Camera.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Woke radical liberals are screwing up this country, but Congressman Jason Smith is fighting back. He backed one big, beautiful tax cut for working families, ending Social Security taxes for nearly all seniors, and taxes on tips and overtime gone. So call Congressman Jason Smith at 202-225-4404 and thank him for backing working family tax cuts and putting America first. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
Sponsored by Progressive. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
It's a Thanksgiving Day football feast Thursday as the Chiefs face the Cowboys.
Siteman Cancer Center game time, 2 p.m. Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer.
The Chiefs, the Cowboys, on your home for Chiefs football. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 6:39, Total Information AM.
Pertussis picking up. I'm Fred Bottomer with 60 seconds to better health. There's been a spike in pertussis or whooping cough cases around the U.S. CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder.
We're seeing cases increasing across the country, and there are really three main factors that are driving this. One, we've seen an increase in non-medical exemptions to vaccination. Texas, in fact, starting this school year, has made it much easier to claim those non-medical exemptions. There is waning immunity with the pertussis, whooping cough vaccines that we use. This is related to a change made a few years ago, over a decade ago, to have vaccines that cause fewer allergic reactions or side effects. But at the same time, the immunity doesn't last as long. Some of the symptoms can be very mild and you may not even realize. So stuffy nose, mild cough. But if you have a lingering cough, that can really be a sign. And then the whooping cough, we call it that because of the kind of violent coughs people can get. Sometimes they even vomit as a result.
With 60 seconds to better health, I'm Fred Bottomer.
Roger Brand, you're in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, unfortunately, there's still no change on Manchester Road. This traffic report's a service of the Pauley Agency. Manchester Road is closed east of Barrett Station due to a serious crash that took power lines down across Manchester Road. So eastbound Manchester is being diverted onto Barrett Station. You go south on Barrett Station to Doherty Ferry to get on 270, and North 270 north of Doherty Ferry up through Manchester is kind of slow right now as well. Eastbound Highway 70 looks like it's just a little slow. Passing Wright City now instead of jam. So we're pretty much almost back to normal there. Northbound 55 seeing a little slowdown at 67. And on the Illinois side, we have a crash on westbound 270. It's about midway between 159 and 157, and traffic jams approaching 159 at this time. Hey, St. Louis, how would you like to see if you, your family, or employees qualify for a health insurance plan that has open enrollment year-round? Call the Pauley Agency. We put the sure in insurance. Call to set an appointment at 636-222-2149. Next update at 6:50 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is 6:41 and time to check in with AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg, and people are going to need to bundle up as we approach the Thanksgiving holiday.
No question about it. The mild air of yesterday with temperatures in the upper 50s, that's long gone, and it's not coming back anytime soon. In the wake of last night's cold front, temperatures are now in the upper 30s to near 40, and they're not going to go up much today, despite a return to some sunshine. Our high only gets to 45, and yes, there'll be a pretty gusty wind throughout the day as well. Partly cloudy and cold tonight. Those winds gradually back down or low in the upper 20s to near 30. Thanksgiving Day looks like it'll turn out fairly sunny, but again, breezy and quite chilly with a high just 44. Sunshine will mix with clouds Friday. A dry day for those out and about doing some shopping or traveling, the high 40. Clouds up Friday night and toward daybreak Saturday, where I think we're going to see some light snow breaking out. That'll eventually change over to some rain on Saturday, a cold rain at that, the high 39. Sunday, brisk and cold temperatures near freezing. We're probably in the 20s on Monday. Right now, it is 38 degrees in St. Peter's. It is 37 in Florissant, 40 and mostly cloudy downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
It's 6:42. The Justice Department says the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was the official who ordered two planes to continue on to El Salvador in March, despite a federal judge's order to turn them around. Here's CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson.
The federal government is responding to an inquiry by United States District Court Judge Boasberg to determine whether or not the federal government should be held in contempt of court. Judge Boasberg had ordered that migrants be returned to the United States. There's some question as to whether or not the federal government complied.
The planes were carrying more than 100 men the government accuses of being members of a Venezuelan gang.
ByHeart, the company whose infant formula is linked to dozens of infant botulism cases, is updating its refund policy. We get more from Jesse Mitchell.
Infant formula maker ByHeart has updated its refund policy after revealing that all of its formula may have been contaminated with the bacteria that causes botulism. The company says it reached the conclusion after tests showed that 5 out of 36 samples from 3 product lots tested positive for the bacteria. The recalled formula has been linked to more than 30 cases of infant botulism in 15 states. ByHeart is urging customers to contact the company for a full refund for all formula purchased on or after August 1st of this year.
Well, usually it sits off to the side of the table, not in the middle or spotlight, if you will, but as many as 40% of Americans think having a ham on the Thanksgiving menu is a great idea. CBS News financial correspondent Kelly O'Grady examines this long-standing meat showdown.
Turkey has long been the undisputed heavyweight champion of Thanksgiving. But now, another holiday underdog is making a play for the plate.
What are you cooking, ham or turkey?
Turkey. I do both.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like turkey's the most universal. You can use it for sandwiches afterwards. Go with the turkey.
According to a survey by Genio, nearly 40% of Americans like to have ham on the table. Greg Bardwell is the head butcher at the Meat Hook in Brooklyn, where pork is front and center.
Why do you think some people prefer ham?
It's easier. It's pre-cooked. You just have to slice it, throw it in the oven, warm it up. It's done. Having to carve a turkey is like a very stressful thing for a lot of people.
I know that great scene from Christmas Vacation where he cuts in and it's
just
it's terrible. Why do you think people feel they have to have a turkey?
It's just so ingrained in American culture that, like, you know, when you think of Thanksgiving, what do you think of? You think of like the turkey.
Bardwell says turkey generally costs less per pound, but you'll need more of it to feed the same number of guests.
If I have to put you on the spot, day of, you're going to the table. Are you team ham or team turkey?
Team ham.
The good news is when meats compete, there's no shortage of ways to fill your plate. And if you can't decide, there's always dessert.
Sweet potato pies, apple pies, coconut cake, homemade biscuits.
Okay, that sounds like the main event, not the ham and the turkey. It's everything else.
That's it.
Kelly O'Grady, CBS News, Team Ham.
Oh, Kelly says she's on Team Ham.
A bold statement from Kelly. All right.
I've heard some people go prime rib on Thanksgiving over everything. So.
I'm having both turkey and ham.
Are you? Okay. We're going
I'm not
turkey.
cooking it, though. I ordered it.
We're going turkey. And we are going young with the St. Louis Cardinals. This rebuild is clearly underway, and it is going to move aggressively, according to President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom. Sonny Gray to the Red Sox. The ace is now a member of the Boston staff, and in return, the Cardinals get the number 5 prospect in the Boston organization, Brandon Clark, the fireballing lefty from Single A, and a Major League ready starter in Richard Fitz. Here's Bloom.
Nobody who gets in this game has any guarantees. I think the more fully we commit to what we need to do, the better it will go and the quicker we will get there. I don't view this as something that's about patience. I view it as something that we have to attack with purpose. We have to attack it with urgency, and we have to do that every day. There are elements of our strategy that just make sense for those to be long-term, but that doesn't mean we're going to be complacent, and that doesn't mean we're going to sit on our hands. We're going to do things every day, whether they're things behind the curtain that people can't see to try to get us there. And sometimes, like today, we do something that is very visible, but we are doing it because we think it's going to get us where we need to go as quickly and as effectively as possible and put us in position to stay there.
There's a clear direction with this team. That's Cardinals President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom. Lots of coverage right now at KMOX.com and more analysis from the Boston side coming at 7:15. The Mizzou men's basketball team continued an undefeated run. They're now 7-0 after beating South Carolina State 98-66 last night. How about the SLU women? They beat a pretty good SMU team, 70-67 in Nashville in the Music City Classic. Billikens opened things up with a 9-2 run they had to withstand from SMU. They flipped it around. They kept the game at arm's length, and then they rebuilt a 7-point lead in the second half, did the Mustangs. The Billikens answered with their own 7-0 run to tie the game, and then they extended their own lead, grabbed their largest lead, going on an 8-0 run late in the game. SMU had a shot to tie it with a 3 at the end, and it would not fall. Hannah Wallace blocked it. She recorded 4 blocks on the day, and the Billiken women get a win over SMU. The 4th Power 5 win for Rebecca Tillett, the head coach, SLU over SMU 70-67. Blues play tonight in New Jersey, 6 o'clock face-off. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. For 43 days, the left kept the government closed, holding the American people hostage and demanding radical policy changes, including free health care for illegal immigrants. However, thanks to strong Republican leadership, the Senate voted to reopen the government and put America first. I'm thrilled to return to Washington so I can continue to vote to help Missourians, to secure our nation's borders, and to cut wasteful spending. Visit onder.house.gov to find the office closest to you.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Join in the festivities as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra presents
Beethoven's Seventh, Energy and Reverie. Sparks of energy will fly across Powell Hall in this spirited Thanksgiving weekend event featuring one of Beethoven's personal favorites, his blazing, boisterous Seventh Symphony. Pianist Joyce Yang joins to give her interpretation of Rachmaninoff's Rhapsody on a theme of Paganini. November 29th and 30th. Tickets at slso.org.
Welcome to Coffee House. How are you today?
Hi, great, thanks. May I get a sea salt caramel latte with almond milk, extra caramel, extra shot, iced,
Gross.
and to go, please. Did you get all that?
No, I was just ringing you up for all the extras. Can you repeat your order, please?
Oh, never mind. I'm just going to go.
Stop paying extra for extras. Get fancy coffee without the fancy coffee price at Quick Trip. Raise your coffee bar.
Hey guys, Dave and Rach here for our good friends at Smart Mouth. So it is unique by the very definition of the word. It's the only mouth rinse out there with two chemicals that combine to prevent bad breath for 24 hours a day with just 2 rinses a day.
Never have bad breath again. You can find Smart Mouth locally at Schnucks and Deerbergs or at Walgreens, Walmart, and Amazon. Visit smartmouth.com to snag a special discount on your next Smart Mouth purchase. That's smartmouth.com/Glover.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:51. Let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the biggest backup we have right now, Debbie, is in Metro East as traffic reports service to the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. That's because of that crash westbound 270 about midway between 159 and 157. It's jamming, approaching 159 up to the crash scene. I can't tell what lane is blocked, but it is bumper to bumper through there. Good news on eastbound 70 on the Missouri side. Everything is cleared out. It's back to normal, running fine through Wright City. We still have the restrictions. Manchester Road still closed both directions just east of Barrett Station due to a serious crash that has wires down across Manchester. Eastbound Manchester, the biggest backup. It's only jammed back to Mason. You have to take Barrett Station southbound to Doherty Ferry to access 270. And North 270 has thinned out. It was slow 10 minutes ago, Doherty Ferry up to Manchester, but it looks better through there now. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Weather forecast from Joe Lundberg says we're going to be much cooler today than recent days. Sunshine and some clouds, high 45. It'll be very windy today. Cloudy and cold, low 29 tonight. Tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day, mostly sunny, breezy, quite chilly with a high of 44 degrees. And we have a chance of some snow coming in late Friday night, turning to rain on Saturday with a high of 39 degrees. Right now, it's 39, feels like 20 downtown at the Arch.
It's going on 6:53 on this Wednesday morning. Stocks rallied yesterday on the hopes of a December rate cut. We get more from CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
The Dow was up almost 700 points yesterday. The NASDAQ rose 170. A full day of trading for you today, and then the financial markets will be closed tomorrow for Thanksgiving. But there's a half day of trading on Friday with markets closing at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then November will be in the books. Stocks are on pace for a losing month, although they're still higher for the year. Consumer confidence in November hit its lowest since last April when President Trump announced the tariffs.
We're expecting a number right around 93. Big miss here. 88.7, the weakest since April. On the present situation, 126.9, another miss, the weakest since March of 21.
CNBC's Rick Santelli. Homeowners are deciding not to sell. They're pulling their homes off the market at the fastest pace in nearly a decade.
Now we're heading into the super slow season for housing and seeing new reports that more sellers are delisting their properties. Redfin just reported nearly 85,000 U.S. sellers took their homes off the market in September, up 28% from the year before and the highest level for that month in 8 years. I have to believe that consumer sentiment was playing into that delisting.
CNBC's Diana Olick. The Toronto Maple Leafs are the most valuable hockey team in the NHL in the new CNBC team valuation analysis. at $4.3 billion. CNBC does this for every major sport. Number 2 in hockey, the New York Rangers at $3.8 billion. The NHL commissioner, Gary Bettman, came on CNBC and said, no, the league's teams are worth a lot more.
We're undervalued by CNBC. This is as much art as it is science. If you were to put the Toronto Maple Leafs on the market on their own, they would sell for far more than the $4.3 billion valuation. But it's okay because if you look at it, we're up 100% roughly over the last 3 years.
On today's watch list, we find out the latest on U.S. economic growth as the now reopened government releases more data that was delayed. Durable goods orders for September will be out. Things made to last a long time, like washing machines and airplanes. We're going to get new home sales numbers for October. And the final season of Stranger Things launches on Netflix.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
Happy 40th birthday to one of our favorite guys, former Cardinal now, and he'll be remembered for a lot of things throughout his career. Matt Carpenter is 40 today.
If you have a birthday or anniversary you would like announced in this segment, email it to totalam@kmox.com, totalam@kmox.com. The birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Betty Lehman, Brian Kohlmeyer, Dolores Schutzenhofer, Jan Olson of O'Fallon, Illinois, and happy anniversary. We got a bunch of anniversaries today. Beth and Dave Buckite, Emily and Jeremy Schaffner, and John Anayako from the Spring family.
This is the best birthday ever.
Missouri, get ready. FanDuel, which is America's #1 sports book, is coming soon. And starting December 1st, new customers in Missouri can get up to $300 in bonus bets when you make your first $5 bet. So from touchdowns to home runs to three-pointers, with FanDuel, any play can be the play of the game. And with live betting, you can even get in on the action after the game has already started, all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. FanDuel is the best way to game day, and it's coming soon to Missouri. Just visit FanDuel.com/promo code to learn more. This way you'll be all set to bet when FanDuel goes live in Missouri on December 1st. That's FanDuel.com/promo code. Play your game with FanDuel, the #1 rated sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older and present in Missouri. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Offer starts 12/1/2025. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG.
After a disaster, emotional recovery takes time. Show Me Hope Missouri offers free, confidential support wherever you are. Call or text 1-800-985-5990 and connect with a local crisis counselor today. From Missouri Department of Mental Health.
For residential and commercial heating repairs, service, maintenance, or installation, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. With over 50 years of HVAC service, get in your comfort zone this winter. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
I'm Dr. Colleen Bosler with the Audiology Center, and I'm talking with my associate, Dr. Adam Voss. What happens to a person's brain when they ignore their hearing loss?
There is such a strong connection between the ear and the brain. Ignoring your hearing loss can cause the brain to become lazy and the speech areas in the brain to shrink. This is partially why you can hear the words, but you cannot understand them. If a hearing loss goes untreated for too long, it may cause an irreversible change in the brain. It is incredibly important to have your hearing screened at 60 or older, or sooner if you're noticing difficulty. And the sooner someone treats their hearing loss, the better and quicker their brain will adapt to hearing sound again. Studies show that those who get hearing aids, even with a mild hearing loss, are much more successful hearing aid users as compared to those that wait longer.
So call us today to get your comprehensive hearing evaluation with one of our doctors. 636-441-7470. Or visit us online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Roger Brand, what's the latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center?
Well, there's still no change on Manchester Road, Tom. It's still closed both directions east of Barrett Station due to a serious crash involving, I heard a request 4 tow trucks, so 4 vehicles involved in that. Eastbound Manchester is being diverted onto Barrett Station southbound to Doherty Ferry. You can go over that way and get on 270. And once you hit 270, it's wide open. It was slow earlier between Doherty Ferry and Manchester, but it looks good now. But again, if you're headed to work, or if you're planning a trip to the airport, just be advised you have to take that detour if you normally would travel eastbound Manchester through that Barrett Station Road area. Other than that, the highways on the Missouri side of the river are looking good. We still have a little bit of a slowdown, but it looks like they cleared that crash westbound at 270 that was midway between 159 and 157. Things are thinned out pretty quickly through there, so that's good news. And eastbound 70 is back on the go. We had delays through the Wright City work zone earlier, but that, again, has since thinned out. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Michael Wallace. The Thanksgiving getaway is kicking into high gear today. This traveler's early start at Indianapolis International Airport paid off.
We were worried about lines because a lot of times on the holiday it starts early, and there weren't any.
Meteorologist Craig Allen says bad weather could slow some travelers down.
The severe weather is quieting down across the south, and it's going to be warm. There will be showers and scattered thunderstorms, but nothing like the outbreaks we had around here yesterday. It's also going to be mild but showery for the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast states. However, much colder air will be moving in from Thursday on.
In the upper Midwest, whiteout conditions have closed some interstates. Winter storm alerts are in effect across much of the Great Lakes through tomorrow night. Some areas could get 2 feet of snow. The Kremlin now says it has received President Trump's proposal to end Russia's war with Ukraine. A spokesperson says it's premature to say a deal is close. CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes asked President Trump aboard Air Force One.
What kinds of concessions are the Russians going to have to make?
Well, they're making concessions. Their big concession is they stop fighting and they don't take any more land.
Trump will send Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to Moscow next week to meet with President Vladimir Putin. Ukraine is concerned the deal would make it surrender more territory to Russia. Prices for some common and costly drugs are coming down. CBS's Stacey Lynn.
The Trump administration says it will pay lower prices for 15 prescription drugs for people on Medicare, including GLP-1 meds, Ozempic and Wegovy. The program also includes popular inhalers and cancer drugs.
New rules allow Medicare to negotiate directly with drug makers to lower prices. Despite concerns about the economy, consumers have spent more so far this holiday season than they did last year.
Adobe Analytics says consumers spent nearly $80 billion during the first 23 days of the shopping season, about 7.5% more than last year. Adobe lead insights analyst Vivek Pandya says early deals meant early sales.
But we're anticipating these deals escalating as we get closer to Black Friday, Thanksgiving, Cyber Monday. These days are when we're anticipating peak discounts.
As much as nearly 30%. Peter King, CBS News.
A previously unseen Renoir painting has sold for just over $2 million at auction.
C'est vu, c'est sans regret à 1,450,000. Ici, l'on gère 1,450,000.
The oil painting is of Renoir's toddler son, Jean. It belonged to Jean's godmother. It had never been exhibited or sold before, though versions of it had been displayed at museums in Washington and Paris. On Wall Street this morning, futures are slightly higher. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
A KFC tale in the pursuit of flavor. The holidays were tricky for the Colonel. He loved people, but he also loved peace and quiet. So he cooked up KFC's $4.99 chicken pot pie. Warm, flaky, with savory sauce and vegetables. It's a tender chicken-filled excuse to get some time to yourself and step away from decking the halls, whatever that means. The Colonel lived so we could chicken. KFC's Chicken Pot Pie. The best $4.99 you'll spend this season.
Prices and participation may vary while supplies last. Taxes, tips, and fees extra.
Selling your home, it's one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. You could go it alone, trying to navigate market trends, determine fair pricing, and tackle tricky negotiations on your own. You could second guess every decision, wondering if you're doing it right. Then there's the showings, the offers, and the mountain of paperwork. Or you could work with the expertise of a realtor, here to guide and help protect as you make your next big move. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
It is 7:04, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we have cloudy skies. It's pretty windy out there, too. It's 35 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman, the man who helped create the Zoo Museum District and led St. Louis in the late 70s, has passed away.
Former Mayor James Conway died Tuesday at Mercy Hospital at the age of 93. Before taking to City Hall, Conway served in the state legislature, where he was instrumental in the bill that set up the Zoo Museum District and ensured free admission at the zoo. During his time as mayor, his administration oversaw the start of major projects like the redevelopment of Union Station and the St. Louis Center shopping mall. His son, former Alderman Stephen Conway, tells the Post-Dispatch his father was, quote, really strong on historic preservation. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
St. Louis Voices Academy of Media Arts, a charter school here in the Park Pacific building, will not be allowed to reopen after Thanksgiving following a security assessment that was done by former St. Louis Police Chief Sam Dotson. The assessment revealed many concerns.
The Missouri Charter Public Schools Commission sent a letter to the school saying if the security deficiencies are not corrected and those actions not met, the commission will initiate permanent closure. Now, as part of the immediate closure, the commission requires SLVA to do several things, including temporarily using 36 hours of virtual instruction, notify parents and staff. Dotson's report says based on site observations, interviews, and policy analysis, SLVA faces persistent safety and security risks that warrant corrective action, potentially exceeding what can be addressed while the school operates in its current manner. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Sheriff Alfred Montgomery's trial to remove him from office has concluded.
Sheriff's Attorney David Mason maintains the attorneys general have no evidence to prove their accusations, while downplaying the legitimacy or seriousness of the witness testimony or video proof they introduced.
I think that he was left with really trying to exaggerate some things to try to raise them to the level of being something sufficient quo warranto. And I think that that argument largely failed.
While case law was raised by the attorneys general, it was used to put the quo warranto in context, and their closing argument focused on the video evidence and testimony that supports their counts. Judge Stephen Omer said he will weigh his decision and make it based on evidence. And although he gave no timeline, he said he will do his best to rule in a timely manner. Outside the Carnahan Courthouse, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The city of St. Louis still needs to spend about $280 million of the nearly $500 million it received in ARPA money. Why hasn't all of it been spent? St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer spoke with Chris and Amy.
There are so many restrictions and so many components to spending those dollars and accounting for them.
The city has a year and a month to ensure the remaining funds are put to use.
I do have a lot of confidence that we have mobilized great efforts to make sure that we are doing everything possible to get all those dollars spent.
The use it or lose it deadline is next December.
Governor Mike Kehoe is pushing back against critics of the state's voucher program, arguing the money empowers parents rather than subsidizing private schools. The legislature appropriated $50 million to the Mo Scholars Program this year, sparking a constitutional challenge. But Kehoe tells Missouri Net the goal is simple.
Well, I would argue that all the parents that would take advantage of the Mo Scholars Program are taxpayers. And so I think that's pretty simply the answer, is that they're all taxpayers, and how their tax dollars get spent should be a little bit more up to them.
Kehoe made the comments after speaking to high school seniors about how his faith impacts his work as governor.
From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, Lowe's is paying more than $12 million to settle federal claims that its installers mishandled lead paint. The EPA says the retailer failed to make sure contracted workers were properly certified to renovate older homes, potentially exposing families to dangerous lead dust. As part of the deal, Lowe's must implement a strict new safety compliance program.
Traffic and weather next. It's 7:08.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
In sports, it's the dream team. And if your car is out of warranty, there's a team for that as well. You, the driver, your mechanic, and Endurance to pay for the repair bills. I'm Danica Patrick. In the past 5 years, auto repair costs have gone up over 36%. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all. With an Endurance auto protection plan, no matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done by the certified mechanic of your choice. Plans cover 24/7 towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, and lockout services. Act now and get the benefits of our Elite plan, a $2,000 value at at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again. So call now for your free quote.
Call 800-293-8030. That's 800-293-8030. 800-293-8030.
What's up, Missouri? Tony Gonzalez here. I've spent a lot of Sundays right here playing in front of the best fans in football. And now it's almost your turn to get in the game because DraftKings Sportsbook is coming to the Show Me State on December 1st. Soon you'll get fast payouts when you win, a safe and secure app that's easy to use, and promos that keep the action going all season long. It's America's top-rated sportsbook app. New customers can sign up right now and score $300 in bonus bets on launch day, December 1st.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KMOX. New Missouri customers, sign up today and score $300 in bonus bets once we're live. That's code KMOX. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
7:10. Let's take a look at the roadways now. It looks like a pretty windy morning, so keep your hands on the wheel. Roger Brand has the latest in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, the roads look great right now as far as highways go, Debbie. Very lightly occupied day before Thanksgiving. I guess that's not a surprise. We'll see how the afternoon does, but right now things are good to go. But we do still have our problem over here in De Pere on Manchester Road. It is still shut down east of Barrett Station due to a serious crash that occurred about an hour and 20-some minutes ago, hour and a half ago, something like that. Manchester east of Barrett Station still closed both directions. Eastbound Manchester drivers being diverted onto Barrett Station, southbound to Doherty Ferry to access 270. Once you hit 270, it's fine. Like I said, there are no delays on these highways right now on either side of the river. They cleared that crash westbound 270, west of 159, so everything is thinned out there. 55 at 67 and north of Bayless in the construction zone. Fine. I do see a little volume eastbound 30 running through Mauer Industrial right now, but overall we're in pretty great shape. Next update is 7:20 for the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, very windy and much cooler today than recent days with sunshine and some clouds are high in the mid-40s. Partly cloudy and cold tonight. The wind will abate, low 29. Thanksgiving Day will turn out mostly sunny, breezy, and quite chilly, the high 44. Friday, sunshine mixing with clouds, cold, the high 40. Look for some snow to arrive late Friday night and linger into early Saturday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, it's chilly out there. It's cold, but it's colder with the wind blowing around. 35 degrees, feels like 20 downtown at the Arch.
It is 7:12. A local pastor pushing for $600,000 in RAM settlement money to go toward helping the homeless. Reverend Larry Rice wants most of that money to be used for hotel vouchers and Metrolink passes. None of the St. Louis County Council members has voiced their support for this proposal. Rice is scheduled to meet with the Department of Human Services next week.
Two separate casino projects at the Lake of the Ozarks are still alive.
According to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, developer Jeff Tegedoff's firm has contributed $750,000 to back a new ballot initiative that seeks to amend the state constitution. The private $400 million project needs more than 170,000 signatures from voters in 6 districts to be placed on the statewide ballot. At the same time, the Osage Nation tribe received an endorsement from Lake of the Ozarks officials for their long-running separate plan to build a $60 million casino. The tribe needs federal approval and a sign-off from Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Chicago area Congresswoman Lauren Underwood says even though Operation Midway Blitz appears to be less visible these days, it is still active. Underwood spoke after getting a tour of the ICE processing facility in Broadview, which became the focus of protests surrounding the federal operation.
They are still actively engaged in the community. And there are still U.S. citizens being caught up with these immigration enforcement agencies. And, I am not here to reassure anybody.
Underwood said her visit to the facility was the first by a sitting member of Congress and happened only after months of requests, denials, and delays. She described the inside of the building as unsanitary, uncomfortable, loud, noisy, and smelly, and said no detainees or staff were present.
Senate Republicans are launching a push to roll back some auto safety mandates, arguing they're driving up the cost of cars. The Senate Commerce Committee has summoned the CEOs of Detroit's big three automakers to a hearing in January. GOP lawmakers claim federal requirements for technology like automatic emergency braking are ineffective and contribute to sticker shock, while safety advocates warn that removing them will cost lives. The Wall Street Journal was first with the report.
Thanksgiving is hard on plumbers.
There's a term of Brown Friday after Thanksgiving, and it's where you experience a lot of sewer backups from all of the company coming over. So you see a lot of sewage backups in basements.
John Shupp is plumbing field manager with Hoffman Brothers. He says if you know you're having big gatherings for the holidays, get someone out to look at your system first.
To get a camera in your sewer line at least once a year, or at least to the point where you know what kind of condition your sewer is in. So you know if you can expect to have issues, or if you know you need to get it cleaned out prior to the holidays.
But he says they'll be on call the day after Thanksgiving if you do have issues. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
All right, let's first get the Boston perspective on this trade. The Red Sox are followed very closely by Rob Bradford. He works for WEEI in Boston, our sister station there. The Cardinals traded Sonny Gray to the Red Sox yesterday for pitchers Richard Fitz and Brandon Clark. Fitz, the more major league ready pitcher. Clark, the one that is turning heads. Here is Bradford.
Is a back of the rotation major league starter. Great guy. Showed enough potential that he showed that he can actually pitch in the major leagues, like I said, at the back of the rotation. But Clark is the wild card, because Clark is the guy with the upside. Clark is the guy who, when they came out of spring training last year, everybody was screaming and yelling how, oh my goodness, how did they get this guy in the 5th round? And he was neck and neck with the guy Conley Early, who ultimately pitched in a postseason game. Now, it went off the rails a little bit with Clark because of this blister nail problem. But still, I think that this is the guy who's going to sort of make maybe this painful for the Red Sox a couple of years down the road. But ultimately, as we sit here, I just like the deal for both teams.
And this is the type of deal that Chaim Bloom is going to be making, trying to grab pitchers with tremendous upside and then watching them grow in the newly revamped Cardinals minor league system.
So obviously, when somebody's at this spot in their journey, there's a lot they have to learn about themselves, and a lot we have to learn about them too as we get to know them. But this is a guy that our pitching team did a lot of homework on as we were discussing this acquisition. And we're going to be there to support him in a lot of different ways, whether it's what he does between the lines, what he does off the field, to make sure he has every chance to reach his potential. But he should be ready to go when spring training comes.
Chaim Bloom, the Cardinals president of baseball operations, will continue to follow it on the Gas House Gang today at noon on KMOX. College basketball last night, Mizzou ran its record to 7-0 with a victory over South Carolina State, 98-66. The SLU women won in Nashville at the Music City Classic. They beat SMU last night, 70-67. Enterprise Center is filled with activity tonight as the Blues visit the New Jersey Devils at 6 o'clock. Their home back in St. Louis will be the site of Guns N' Hoses. Tonight's Budweiser Guns N' Hoses, the biggest party in town. A lot of beer will be consumed in the seats there, and the police and firefighters will be out supporting their fellow first responders. It's all to back the Backstoppers, who provide relief and funds for families of fallen first responders. And tonight's matchups between the police and the fire departments also feature St. Louis against Kansas City. Live broadcast on Fox 2 tonight. I will call it along with Hall of Famer Chris Pronger, former fighter Jesse Finney. On the floor conducting interviews, Jasmine Huda and Laura Simon of Fox 2, and Julie Tristan of KZK will be doing the ringside interviews with the fighters themselves, and this will all be simulcast on 97.1 FM. We'll see you tonight at 7 on Fox 2 at guns and hoses. That event sells out every year the night before Thanksgiving. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's easy to feel apprehensive about getting screened for cancer or to just keep putting it off. But Siteman Cancer Center wants to remind you how important it is, especially after the age of 40. And they also want you to know how easy it is to get it done. GetScreenedNow.com has all the information you need on cancers like prostate, breast, colon, lung cancer. You can also find out your risk of disease by answering just a few simple questions. And then you can find one of the hundreds of screening locations in the area. Even if you're a little farther out, there is probably a place near you. You have heard this before, but catching cancer early dramatically increases the odds of a successful treatment, especially with so many cancers showing up earlier in life. So do not be intimidated. Siteman will make the process as simple as possible. GetScreenedNow.com. Do it for your family and friends who count on you. Do it for yourself. Visit GetScreenedNow.com.
Let Banner Construction show you what a difference James Hardy can make to your home. Banner's exterior design team will show you custom design options to transform your home into the neighborhood showplace. Banner is a preferred James Hardy and Pella Windows specialist. With winter just around the corner, now is the time to think about Pella Windows for energy efficiency and comfort. Call Banner Construction 314-569-1050 to schedule your free in-home consultation, or the website bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertisements.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:20 and time for us to take a look at traffic and weather. We're starting now with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, not much to worry about traffic-wise unless you normally use Manchester Road. And thankfully, Debbie, the jams haven't gotten any worse. Today's just a very lightly traveled day, being the Thanksgiving Eve. But Manchester is still closed east of Barrett Station from that crash that occurred around 5:45, 5:50 this morning. At Manchester east of Barrett Station, a crash took down a power pole and wires across Manchester is the reason why it's still closed. So eastbound Manchester is still being diverted onto Barrett Station, southbound to Doherty Ferry to access 270. And eastbound Manchester is only backed up like midway to Mason. It's not much of a backup at all. And westbound, again, a very short backup there as well. Other than that, the only interstate delay we have is just a little bit of a slowdown right now. Northbound 55 approaching 67. It looks good north of there. Through McNutt, it looks good north of Bayless. All the construction zone 70 out Warrenton, Wright City area, everything's good to go. But just a little slowdown right now as well on eastbound 64 as you get past Winghaven. Next update is 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Roger, that wind is making it feel very cold, and it's going to be that way for the next few days. Thanksgiving tomorrow will be sunny and chilly. For tonight, we're looking after this sunshine today and a high of 45, a diminishing wind, low 29, but tomorrow, high 44, that's it. Friday, sunshine mixes with clouds and cold, high 40. Clouding up Friday night, bit of snow late, low near 30. Right now, it's 35, feels like 20 downtown at the Arch. Weather sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's one day only Thanksgiving Day deals are coming. For a limited time, get up to 50% off Lowe's.com to save big on holiday favorites. Valid 11/27, only on Lowe's.com. All supplies last.
The news continues at 7:22. A number of House Republicans say Illinois families need to know their government and the governor take public safety seriously.
Following a week in Chicago where a young woman was set on fire by a notorious repeat offender, and a tragic shooting following the annual holiday tree lighting where one teenager was killed and 8 others were wounded, 3 House Republican members, who are all current law enforcement officers, are saying that Governor J.B. Pritzker continues to turn a blind eye to the public safety crisis gripping the city of Chicago. State Representatives Patrick Sheehan of Homer Glen, John Cabello of McChesney Park, and Dennis Tipsort of Metamora said the governor has spent years promoting soft-on-crime policies that have left families and communities in fear. Representative Sheehan.
Unfortunately, it's the same old story, and it's just more victims added to the list of an extraordinary, terrible law. And Governor Pritzker just is completely on the opposite spectrum of law and order, of law enforcement. He's championed the Safety Act, and he's called for his supporters to be street fighters. He can't seem to wrap his head around this.
Sheehan pointed out the governor said this past Friday he's willing to consider changes to the Illinois Safety Act, which prompted former prosecutor and current representative from Metropolis, Patrick Windhorst, to say if the governor wants to tweak the Safety Act, Republicans have a number of suggestions.
Our working group has ideas to reform the Safety Act that would address a lot of the issues we're seeing, correct a lot of the problems that we've been warning about. I would have hoped the governor would have been aware of that, but he should be, and his team should be putting forward their solutions for us to consider, and we'd be happy for our legislation to move forward in the General Assembly and for the Speaker to call them for a vote.
House Minority Leader Tony McCombie also spoke on the Republican proposals, saying her caucus has offered solutions every year, working groups, open-door collaboration, and common sense bills to repeal dangerous sections or strengthen penalties. She added it's time for Democrats to admit their mistake and fix the law. Illinois families, victims, and law enforcement deserve better than political spin. From the Capitol, I'm Dean Abbott.
With increased daily usage of cannabis due to changes in the law, AP's Minx and Lau reports that many Americans are now dealing with cannabis use disorder.
Miguel Lavoy has smoked pot recreationally for more than 50 years and is also among the millions who use the drug for its medicinal benefits.
They prescribed me cannabis when I had the chemotherapy. This is my only medication, cannabis.
But compared to when Lavoy started smoking in his teens, cannabis is much more accessible and potent. And contrary to popular belief, it is possible to develop an addiction. It's known as cannabis use disorder.
My name is Ann Hassel, and I am a physical therapist. And I feel guilt to this day that I upsold high-potency THC concentrates. And I remember, still to this day, selling shatter to 15-year-olds who would come in as medical patients with their mother. That's what I saw happening in the dispensary. People who were casual users like myself were all of a sudden swept up in it and consuming more and more. When I started consuming the high-potency THC concentrates, it was really altering who I was as a person. I was waking up and doing it. I was driving to the dispensary and doing it in the car before I went in there. I was doing it during the break.
For some, the positives still outweigh the negatives. The drug is cited to help with pain and anxiety, but frequent or heavy use can lead to memory and lung issues. Kyle, who asked that we only use his first name,
it's the only thing that can make me relax and just actually be able to not feel like I need to do 1,000 things at once. But because of that, you get a lot lazier. The brain fog isn't super fun. And then the brain fog can only be remedied by smoking again. So it kind of creates a pretty vicious cycle.
A big Thanksgiving dinner with your family could be a good time to lay the groundwork for a big family vacation. WBBM's Rob Hart has more.
Thanksgiving dinner could be one of the rare times of the year when the entire family is under one roof. Travel vlogger Mark Walters tells the Noon Business Hour it's a good time to start planning that multi-generational family trip. He says everyone will have an opportunity to talk about the destination and things to do when you get there.
People feel that they didn't have a voice, so make sure everyone's talking about things they'd like to do.
Walters adds you can also discuss a budget that works for all.
Like, you know what? Maybe we're not going to stay at a 5-star hotel. Let's stay at like a B&B or an Airbnb or something like that so we can kind of mitigate some of the costs by cooking. And having some of those tough questions early lets people know, it's like, hey, do I want to be a part of this or not?
Rob Hart, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
727 on 104.1 FM, the home of the Cardinals, KMOX. And the time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. Let me give you another number, 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway. That's right off I-70 near Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. It's Genesis of St. Charles. Get started online at genesisofstcharles.com. and unlock that e-price before you go over. And then when you go over to the dealership, go over there today. They'll be happy to see you. You can test drive a Genesis, and I am here to tell you Genesis vehicles are spectacular. And Genesis of St. Charles is your premier Genesis dealer. They're the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri. And their signature event at Genesis of St. Charles features, among other things, willing to pay more for your trade on any new Genesis purchase. And that upfront pricing, when you unlock the e-price, you're going to be really happy with it. Every purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service valet. That means complimentary vehicle pickup and delivery, plus a loaner vehicle at no additional cost. They just take great care of you at Genesis of St. Charles. Get started online, genesisofstcharles.com.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-269-3454. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-269-3454 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-269-3454 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-269-3454.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the megastores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
It is 7:30, and right now in downtown St. Louis, it's cloudy, windy, and 35 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, not much in the way of concerns on the highways. They're looking great this morning, but we still have our restrictions. Manchester Road remains closed just east of Barrett Station over in De Pere from an earlier crash happened almost 2 hours ago where a multi-vehicle crash. One of the vehicles took down a utility pole or snapped it in half, whatever the case may be, and the wires ended up down across Manchester Roadway, and that's why Manchester, east of Barrett Station, remains closed. Eastbound drivers detouring south down Barrett Station to Doherty Ferry, eastbound to access 270. Eastbound Manchester is only backed up east of Mason, so a very short jam, and westbound just a very short backup through the area as well at that closure point. Other than that, the only interstate delay we have is northbound 55, a slowdown approaching 67, not quite midway back to 61, but it's getting a little longer. But the rest of these interstates light enough volume where we remain going at a pretty good pace for you on both sides of the river. Next update is 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today's going to be a very windy day and much cooler than yesterday with a high of 45 degrees, 29 overnight. For Thanksgiving Day, mostly sunny, breezy with a high of 44. It is 35 out there right now.
It's 7:32. The St. Charles County judge who agreed to resign for dressing as Elvis and impersonating him during court proceedings has had a change of heart.
Attorneys for Judge Matthew Thornhill say the investigation was tainted, and Thornhill agreed to resign before key evidence, namely photos of him as Elvis, were released publicly, making news internationally. Thornhill's legal team says he was the target of a crusade by the presiding judge in St. Charles, who's a close friend of the person conducting the investigation against him. They're asking the Missouri Supreme Court to impose no more than a 60-day suspension instead of the recommended 6 months with no pay. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Costco set to open a 6th location in the St. Louis area. The wholesale retailer has filed to rezone land in Lake St. Louis. If the request is approved, Costco would start construction early next summer and finish by summer 2027.
The Cardinals made the trade with the Red Sox yesterday. Sonny Gray for 2 pitchers, one a prospect, one a Major League ready starter. We'll break it all down for you in sports at 7:45. It's 7:33, And the news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
This is Amy Mark Scores, chair of this year's Red Kettle campaign. Christmas reminds us of the challenges faced by our neighbors in need, basic needs we sometimes take for granted. When you give with joy to the Salvation Army, you transform lives. You put food on the table and provide warm beds. You give veterans and seniors purpose. You help a child experience the joy of Christmas. And 90 cents of every dollar donated goes directly to critical social services. Bring joy to the world today. Visit salarmy.us/Amy Mark Scores.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/life.
It is 7:34, and it's time for us to get you updated on your money report, sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Dell Technologies has raised its annual projections for the key artificial intelligence server market. It's a sign of sustained demand for the type of machines needed in the current data center boom. HP Inc. gave a profit outlook for the current year that fell short of estimates. The company also says it will cut 4,000 to 6,000 workers through fiscal 2028 by using more AI tools. McKinsey cut about 200 global tech jobs in the past week. The consulting firm joins rivals in using artificial intelligence to automate some positions. After yesterday's advance, the S&P 500 set to extend a 3.5% three-day rally, fueled by a rebound in technology shares as risk appetite returned. Sentiment has improved as delayed economic data pointed to some softness in the U.S. economy. That has increased the odds of a December rate cut from the Federal Reserve. I'm John Tucker, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the take care of my family goal. This is the enjoy the life I've built goal. This is the set up a foundation goal. This is Busey, where your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth, through partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Woke radical liberals are screwing up this country, but Congressman Jason Smith is fighting back. He backed one big, beautiful tax cut for working families, ending Social Security taxes for nearly all seniors, and taxes on tips and overtime gone. So call Congressman Jason Smith at 202-225-4404 and thank him for backing working family tax cuts and putting America first. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
It is that time of year, celebrating St. Louis tradition at its finest with Ted Drew's Frozen Custard, serving the community with unmatched quality service and hometown pride for generations. This is Tom Ackerman. You know that Ted Drew's is known for that rich, creamy frozen custard made fresh daily. But Ted Drew's is also the place where your one-stop holiday destination begins this Friday, with a beautiful selection of premium Christmas trees. Now, they run out, so don't waste too much time. You want to get there. Christmas trees and greenery are available while supplies last. Stop by early for the best selection. Now, they're not going to run out of frozen custard, so you'll be good there. Get yourself, what do they call that? The Great Pumpkin, the one where I think they basically drop a slice of pumpkin pie into a vanilla concrete. Oh, baby, it's so good. Ted Drew's, where tradition tastes great and the holidays feel right at home. The Ted Drew's location, of course, is 6726 Chippewa on the historic Route 66. It's open late.
Experience a musical kaleidoscope as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra performs Shostakovich's 15th, Rebellion and Reckoning. and epic symphonic memoir. Cellist Kian Soltani joins to make his St. Louis debut, using his bow to tell the story of Haydn's elegant cello concerto. December 5th and 6th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Is your home ready for the holidays? Call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119. Take $75 off air duct cleaning. Book online anytime at ZeroResSTL.com or call 314-474-2020.
Working full-time but still falling behind? Learn how real estate education can help you build income and get ahead on your terms. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
It's a Thanksgiving Day football feast Thursday as the Chiefs face the Cowboys.
Sightman Cancer Center game time, 2 p.m. Sightman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer.
The Chiefs, the Cowboys, on your home for Chiefs football. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:39. The Board of Police Commissioners names Colin Tully, Lieutenant Colin Tully, as secretary to the board. Tully will work closely with the board to serve as a liaison between the board, the department, the state, and the city, and provide professional insight and manage its governance functions.
We were watching this on TV earlier today. 13 people killed in a fire that spread across 7 high-rise apartment buildings in Hong Kong in a housing complex there. The raging fire set up a column of flames and thick smoke as it spread on bamboo scaffolding and construction netting that had been set up around the exterior of the housing complex. Video from the scene showed at least 5 buildings close to each other ablaze, with bright flames and smoke shooting out of the many apartments' windows as night fell. About 700 people in Hong Kong have been evacuated to temporary shelters.
It is 7:40. Let's get you updated on your ride in. We have had a couple of issues this morning that are causing people some problems. We get the latest from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, we still got the trouble on Manchester Road, Debbie. It's still shut down east of Barrett Station from a crash that occurred almost 2 hours ago where multiple cars, 4 cars were involved. But power poles are snapped and wires down across Manchester. The reason why it's still closed, Manchester, just east of Barrett Station. So eastbound Manchester drivers being diverted onto Barrett Station, southbound to Doherty Ferry, eastbound to get over to 270. Eastbound Barrett Station has only backed up about midway to Mason, and there's just a short backup westbound at the closure point as well. That's the only main trouble spot we have in the highways. This is the peak time of the rush hour. We don't have that much volume. North 55 is just a little slow at 67. The rest of these interstates, so on both sides of the river, remain light and on the go for you. Next update at 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by the Moolah Shrine Center Festival of Trees.
I want to invite you to the Moolah Festival of Trees. Come see over 40 of the best decorated trees you'll ever see. Adult tickets are only $2 and kids under 12 are free. November 22nd through the 29th at the Moolah Shrine Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. We talked about this, I think, a day or two ago, the possibility of snow, and here we are, possibly Friday night into Saturday.
Yeah, I think it would develop late Friday night, Tom, and last into Saturday morning before probably changing to rain, a cold rain at that during the day Saturday. But that's a long enough window of time that it probably will try to accumulate. Right now we're thinking 1 to maybe 2 or 3 inches near the city, and higher amounts to the north where the cold air can hang on a little bit longer. Obviously, this is a situation that's in flux, but it does look like our first bout with true wintry weather. And I'll tell you what, behind it, there's going to be a lot of cold air as we finish out the weekend and go into early next week. Today, not exactly balmy, only 45 with clouds and sunshine and a gusty wind, partly cloudy tonight, then to 29. Thanksgiving Day turns out mostly sunny but breezy, the high 44. Clouds increase late Friday, the high 40. And again, some snow late Friday night and into Saturday morning before probably changing to rain, the high 39. Clouds, and Sunday, the high only near freezing. 37 at St. Peter's and in Florissant, cloudy, 39 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right. Thank you, Joe. I'm looking out the window of Studio B here, and that Missouri flag at Soldiers Memorial is flapping in the wind. So it is windy out there for sure. Campbell's is defending its soup after some disparaging comments about its product were caught on tape.
A former employee claims VP Martin Bally said the soup was highly processed food for poor people and that the chicken came from a 3D printer. Campbell's has placed Bally on leave and has released a fact sheet defending its products that says the company does not use any form of artificial or bioengineered meat in its soups. Bally was also heard making racist comments that Campbell says do not reflect the values and culture of the company. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
The Paris prosecutor has announced 4 more arrests in connection with the $102 million jewel heist at the Louvre. The arrests include 2 men and 2 women from the Paris region, aged 31 to 40. The prosecutor did not specify their roles in the October 19th theft. French media report that one of those arrested, a 39-year-old man, is believed to be the 4th member of the team thought to have carried out the daring daylight robbery. The stolen jewels have not been recovered. Police have previously arrested other suspected members of the so-called commando team.
Wicked for Good is in theaters now, and the lovely Jonathan Bailey plays Prince Fiero, who is transformed into the Scarecrow by a spell from Elphaba in order to save him. Jonathan tells Entertainment Tonight that the work to get the sexiest man alive to become Scarecrow took nearly 5 hours in the makeup chair for 10 days to transform into the Scarecrow. But how much of it was CGI?
None of it's CGI.
Okay.
It's all incredible artistry, the makeup, the prosthetics. It got it down to about 4 hours every morning.
Crystal Keith paid tribute to her late father, country legend Toby Keith, during the Steelers-Bengals game as part of the NFL Salute to Service weekend.
Through the perilous fight.
She performed the national anthem, then honored her dad at halftime with emotional renditions of Don't Let the Old Man In and American Soldier. Crystal called the moment a dream come true, saying it was an honor to celebrate both her dad and U.S. service members. Toby Keith died February 2024 after a long battle with stomach cancer. He was 62. Cardinals president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom, after trading Sonny Gray to the Red Sox for pitchers Brandon Clark and Richard Fitz.
One thing I should say, and we've talked about it before, we do see value regardless of whether we're building for the long haul. We still do see value in what veterans can contribute in the short term, and that's always something that you have to weigh. And sometimes those short-term effects, sometimes those short-term contributions have long-term effects. That the mentorship that veterans can provide sometimes helps young players establish themselves and be able to grow and move forward. So that is definitely something we are mindful of, something we will be mindful of.
They were very high on Gray throughout his time with the Cardinals, but saw value in making the move now and acquiring young talent. This is what Chaim Bloom wants to do as the leader now of the Cardinals, moving forward for the future, building in particular a very strong pitching staff. And they have picked up an intriguing prospect in Clark. Single-A pitcher, left-handed fireballer, 6'4", a 5th-round pick, and the 5th-ranked prospect in the Red Sox organization. Here's WEEI's Rob Bradford on the Gas House Gang.
Yeah, I saw him pitch in, I don't even know what you call it, the Futures game. They have a couple different iterations of it in spring training, but they played the Rays, and he was the guy to me that jumped out off the page. Now, he had just been drafted the year before, so we didn't know a lot about him. But as I said, this guy, Conley Early, and in case people aren't familiar with Conley Early, he was basically like the Trey Savage for the Red Sox. He was that guy. Gets dropped in at the end of the year, pitches in a postseason game. And Brandon Clark was, like I said, neck and neck with Early at that time. He really, really was impressive. And then he gets out of the gate, same thing. We're talking about, this guy, high 90 fastball. All of it, like the whole ball of wax. And then, as you saw, the numbers sort of went off the rails, especially with the control. You look at the command, the walks, that was a concern. I will say this. If I'm the Cardinals and if I'm Cardinals fans, there's an explanation for this. There wasn't just like this guy just didn't fall off the cliff here for no reason. You had a very real blister and nail problem, which, as we know, the guy wants to pitch through it, but it's not always easy to pitch through. So if you want to find a reason why the numbers didn't add up to the stuff, I think that was a pretty good place to start.
Cardinals grabbed this prospect, Brandon Clark, along with Major League ready starter Richard Fitz for Sonny Gray, More moves expected from Chaim Bloom in this rebuild, which is clearly underway in the St. Louis Cardinals organization. Blues play tonight in New Jersey. They take on the Devils at 6 o'clock. Mizzou basketball ran its record to 7-0 with a 98-66 win over South Carolina State last night. The SLU women defeated SMU 70-67 down in Nashville in the Music City Classic. SLU men are tomorrow night against Santa Clara. We will carry that game on 11:20 a.m. and then join it in progress after the Chiefs play on 104.1 FM. Big Chiefs game tomorrow against the Cowboys. Billikens will play at 6 o'clock against Santa Clara. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Billikens and the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Your company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
Swing and a home run to left.
There, when legends were born.
The first major league home run for Albert Pujols.
Pujols hits a high fly ball. That's deep. Left center field. It's a gunner.
Swinging another home run. There it is, his third of the game. Albert Pujols, 5 for 5 with 3 home runs.
Pujols swings and he drives this one left field down the line, and it's a gunner. Home run 703.
And to all you Cardinal Nation, best fans in baseball, thank you.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Achieve more with competitive rates on savings and lending. Visit togethercu.org.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. And joining us is Dr. Rohina Pani.
Slightly higher, I would say, trend towards men, likely related to the lifestyle risk factors like smoking. But once you have diagnosed a patient with pancreatic cancer, the treatment options and the response to treatment is very similar for both genders.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. For 43 days, the left kept the government closed, holding the American people hostage and demanding radical policy changes, including free health care for illegal immigrants. However, thanks to strong Republican leadership, the Senate voted to reopen the government and put America first. I'm thrilled to return to Washington so I can continue to vote to help Missourians, to secure our nation's borders, and to cut wasteful spending. Visit onder.house.gov to find the office closest to you.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:50 and time for us to get you caught up on your ride in. We do have some issues, so let's get the very latest from Roger Brandt and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's still no change on Manchester Road, Debbie, over in De Pere. Manchester east of Barrett Station still closed because of that crash that snapped at least one, maybe 2 power poles. Hard for me to tell, but the wires down across Manchester. The crash occurred westbound, but the wires extend across both sides of Manchester. That's why remains closed in both directions. Eastbound Manchester jammed about midway back to Mason. You have to get on to Barrett Station southbound to Doherty Ferry eastbound. If you're westbound on Manchester, it looks like they're just getting you all turned into the Sam's Club parking lot over to Barrett Station there to get around it. So westbound, the detour not as lengthy as it is eastbound. Hopefully it won't be too much longer, but they do still have it shut down. Northbound 270, north of Manchester up through 64. The right lanes are a little heavy. Northbound to 55, there's barely a slowdown now at 67. And the rest of these interstates on both sides of the river continue to be lightly occupied. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Weather-wise, we're looking at a cold day today, a high of 45. That wind's going to make it feel really cold, even with the sunshine. Tonight, partly cloudy, cold, diminishing wind low 29. Tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day, mostly sunny, breezy, quite chilly, high 44. Friday, sunshine mixing with clouds. It'll be cold, a high 40, and then we'll cloud up Friday night. Bit of snow late that will change to rain on Saturday, a low overnight of 30 degrees. Right now, it's 35, feels like 20 downtown at the Arch.
Union workers turned out in force Monday night to urge the Festus City Council to approve a new data center. While some residents raised environmental concerns, supporters argued the development would bring new jobs. Union laborer Jacob West says the project's more than just the building.
I'm asking you to weigh the full picture. not just the fear of change or the noise of what might go wrong, but the very real upside for local families and local residents here. Growth creates jobs. Jobs can turn into careers, and those careers help stabilize communities.
But neighbors are still concerned about noise and the environmental impact on their properties.
Double check the cheese you bought for your Thanksgiving mac and cheese or charcuterie board.
Boar's Head Pecorino Romano cheese has been recalled due to potential listeria. The affected products were sold in stores across the country, with a best buy date between November 21st and March 12th. The company says no illnesses have been confirmed, but warned listeria is particularly dangerous for pregnant women, those over 65, and people with weakened immune systems. If you have the cheese in your fridge, don't eat it. You can return the product for a full refund. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
This comes a year after a boar's head outbreak killed 10 people. Schnucks not only dropped boar's head after that, it actually sued the deli meat company. Schnucks then switched its deli provider to Dietz & Watson, but boar's head is still sold in the St. Louis area at Straub's and Fresh Time, as well as many independent grocers.
Nellie was in North City yesterday, personally helping families put food on the Thanksgiving table.
We're here right now, North St. Louis at Walbridge Elementary. We want to thank all of the staff and the whole community for opening their doors and helping us, just do a little something for people this Thanksgiving.
Dirk Brown caught up with Nellie at Walbridge Elementary, where volunteers were handing out free turkeys and holiday food boxes.
A Texas landlord's case before the U.S. Supreme Court is challenging the U.S. Postal Service's exemption from lawsuits over lost or mishandled mail. The landlord alleges her mail was deliberately withheld for 2 years. The Postal Service argues that allowing such lawsuits could lead to a flood of litigation. During oral arguments last month, a government lawyer warned of numerous lawsuits if the court rules in the landlord's favor. However, the landlord's attorney claims such cases would be rare. The Supreme Court's decision could redefine the Postal Service's liability under the Federal Tort Claims Act.
New clues about possible risk factors for autism, Michael George reports.
Pregnant women with thyroid hormone imbalances may be at an increased risk of having children with autism. A study in Israel found a link between autism and women who had ongoing thyroid hormone imbalances over multiple trimesters. However, there was no increased risk of autism among women whose thyroid dysfunction was adequately treated.
Well, if you're planning to hit a bar tonight, you won't be the only one. After New Year's Eve and the Super Bowl, the night before Thanksgiving is the biggest drinking day of the year, which is why they call it Blackout Wednesday, Drinksgiving. It has a lot of names, unfortunately. The Highway Traffic Safety Administration says the night before Thanksgiving is also one of the worst for DUIs and crashes. So consider leaving the car at home. If you want to have a few beers around first responders tonight, you can do that at Guns N' Hoses because the police officers and firefighters will be putting them back there as well. It's a huge party at Enterprise Center, and it's all to benefit the Backstoppers who help families of fallen first responders. And the firefighters and the police officers will go at it in boxing matches. You'll have St. Louis against Kansas City. It's all going to be broadcast tonight live on Fox 2. Our entire crew will be back, an Emmy Award-winning telecast for the 4th year, and it will be simulcast on 97.1 FM.
And Tom Ackerman, part of that telecast.
Indeed, a lot of us. Chris Pronger, Jesse Finney, Jasmine Huda, Laura Simon, Julie Tristan, all part of that cast, produced by Brian Shapiro and directed by Nick Thompson.
And if you participate in Drinksgiving, please plan to take a cab home, Uber, Lyft, or a designated driver.
It's a great idea. It's 7:57.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
Christmas has arrived at Chesterfield Valley Nursery with hundreds of Christmas trees and our winter greens. Visit our garden center for your live holiday decor, from garland to poinsettias to custom live wreaths made right here at Chesterfield Valley Nursery. Open to the public, everyone is welcome. Stop by 16825 North Outer 40 Road in Chesterfield, directly past the popular entertainment district. Visit ChesterfieldValleyNursery.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-242-3131. 800-242-3131.
Are you tired of online threats? Then get an antivirus. It's the only online protection you will ever need.
Disclaimer, an antivirus is just half protection online. It will not protect you from snoopers or encrypt your online traffic. So this Black Friday, get better online protection with NordVPN. NordVPN will encrypt your traffic, protect you from malware and phishing, and stop annoying ads. Get the NordVPN Black Friday deal with 73% off and enjoy 3 extra months.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from the Gelman team of eXp Realty. Selling your home, every situation is unique. Find the best options that are right for you from the real estate team who offer more options. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Bernie Miklas here for Saliga Heating and Cooling. Our family's called the Saliga family for 18 years, and we are grateful for Saliga's honesty, knowledge, and professionalism. They're the best. For more info, visit SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We still have our closure of Manchester Road just east of Barrett Station, Debbie, from an early morning crash. Eastbound Manchester jammed. Midway back to Mason, you go southbound Barrett Station down to Doherty Ferry over to 270. Westbound Manchester remains closed. You're just being diverted in. It looks like it's Sam's Club, and you can cut over to Barrett Station after that to get back on Manchester Road westbound. So just short backups each direction. The eastbound detour obviously is much longer. Other than that, 55 barely slow at 67 downtown. We still look great westbound across the Poplar and Musial Veterans Bridges. Out west, eastbound 70 coming in from Warrenton through the Wright City Work Zone in great shape as well. From the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Michael Wallace. On this busy travel day before Thanksgiving, Mother Nature is not cooperating in the upper Midwest. CBS News Minnesota's Jonah Kaplan is in Minneapolis.
We're experiencing whiteout, blizzard-like conditions from a lot of people. The State Patrol this morning reporting more than 200 spin-offs, slide-offs, cars off the road across Minnesota. Plows trying to keep up with some areas, seeing more than 6 inches of snow.
This traveler is flying out of Minneapolis-St. Paul.
We're heading off to Hershey, Pennsylvania to visit family for Thanksgiving. Wasn't too bad getting here today.
We just got word of a ground stop at Washington's Reagan National Airport due to weather there. President Trump is optimistic his peace plan for Russia and Ukraine will be agreed to, but now Russia may have some reservations. CBS's Margaret Brennan.
Overnight, we did hear Putin's foreign policy advisor, Yuri Ushakov. He seemed to really downplay that Abu Dhabi meeting between Russian intelligence and the Secretary of the Army, Dan Driscoll, and said Russia hasn't discussed an official peace plan in any detail with anyone.
Ukraine is not happy the deal would have it surrender more territory to Russia. A new court filing by the Justice Department says it was Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's call to keep flying a group of deportees to El Salvador back in March. CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson.
The filing indicates that it was Noem who was responsible for the decision not to return the Venezuelans while they were mid-flight, despite the fact that a U.S. district judge had ordered the flight be turned around.
Justice Department argues the Trump administration did not violate the judge's order. Another Thanksgiving in Massachusetts and another failed attempt to dump that state's blue laws.
State Representative David Linsky's effort to make it legal to buy alcohol on Thanksgiving at liquor and grocery stores has stalled once again, just like in years past. That means these folks need to stock up on booze now, because come Turkey Day, if they run out, they're out of luck.
Well, I'd like to be surprised, but I'm not surprised. I mean, it's Massachusetts.
I don't know. We have old liquor laws, I feel like. Yeah, what if you need to just run because you ran out of wine or something?
Texas and Connecticut have similar blue laws. James Rojas for CBS News, Boston.
Despite all the angst about inflation and the economy, Adobe Analytics says its data show consumers have spent a record amount so far this holiday season. Adobe analyst Vivek Pandya.
You're having consumers explore on social networks, see what the best deals are,
and take advantage of them, especially if there are those ones with additional promo codes and things like that.
It says video games, Legos, Fisher-Price toys, and e-readers have been big sellers. This is CBS News.
The annual Progressive Keys to Progress program provides vehicles to deserving veterans, helping our heroes drive their lives forward. Learn more at keystoprogress.com.
At 8:03, we have cloudy skies, 37 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Wednesday, November 26th. I'm Megan Lynch. Former St. Louis Mayor James Conway has died at the age of 93.
Conway, a Democrat who led the city from 1977 to 81, passed away Tuesday from prostate cancer, according to the Post-Dispatch. Known for his sharp tongue and aggressive style, Conway described his own approach to politics as damn the torpedoes and full speed ahead. While he worked to stem the exodus of businesses from the city, his single term was marked by a major controversy, the decision to close Homer G. Phillips Hospital on the north side. That move infuriated residents and ultimately led to his defeat by Vincent Shamel in 1981. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The Missouri Charter Public School Commission has ruled St. Louis Voices Academy of Media Arts in the Park Pacific building downtown cannot reopen after the Thanksgiving holiday.
SLVA had to submit a safety plan and be ready to implement it by Monday. The Charter Public School Commission, along with former St. Louis Police Chief Sam Dotson, concluded an audit of the school determined deficiencies span emergency preparedness, physical security, supervision protocols, incident response, staff training, and institutional accountability. Because of that conclusion, the school is closed to in-person classroom attendance until further notice. While the school cannot reopen, it can temporarily hold virtual classes. Dotson was retained by the commission after a child walked away from the school last month, unbeknownst to school staff. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The decision about whether or not to remove Sheriff Alfred Montgomery from office now rests with Judge Stephen Omer after the trial wrapped up Tuesday with closing arguments. The attorneys general focused on tying together the testimony and evidence, including video footage showing Montgomery's actions justify his removal from office. Their counts for his removal include retaliating against former employees, having a deputy transport his kids to and from school in a department vehicle, and having the deputy commissioner of the jail detained. The defense focused on dismantling their case, saying they don't believe they reached the bar for removal. Sheriff's attorney David Mason.
I think that he was left with really trying to exaggerate some things to try to raise them to the level of being something sufficient quo warranto. And I think that argument largely failed.
The judge has provided no timeline for a decision. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe tells Missouri Net he's confident the state will win a legal battle over its $50 million investment in private school scholarships. During a visit to St. Joseph Christian School this week, Kehoe addressed a lawsuit filed by the Missouri NEA, which claims the funding violates the state constitution by sending tax dollars to religious schools.
I believe we have great footing. The folks that we surround ourselves with in the legal business assure us that we should come out good on that. I'm sure hopeful that we come out on the right side on that, because we'd like to continue to fund the Most Scholars program and promote education choice.
The case is currently pending in Cole County Court. Following a voter rejection last year, two separate groups are reviving plans to build casinos at Lake of the Ozarks.
St. Louis developer Jeff Takeoff's firm is funding a new effort to get a constitutional amendment on the ballot for a $400 million private casino near Bagnell Dam. That's according to the Post-Dispatch. Separately, the Osage Nation is pursuing a $60 million project that requires federal and a sign-off by Governor Mike Kehoe. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Plumbers are bracing for all the calls when people clog their pipes this Thanksgiving. I asked John Shupp, plumbing field manager with Hoffman Brothers, about a common culprit, grease. I think sometimes people think, John, that they can put grease down the drain as long as they just pour enough hot water after it. What really happens?
So hot water could actually have a reverse effect, because it'll allow it to liquefy until it gets down the drain line, and then it'll cool, and then that's what it will adhere to the sides of the pipes. So I actually would recommend, if grease has to go down there for whatever reason, it actually stays at a cooler temperature, so it can solidify and be allowed to flow all the way through the line.
Plumbers often call the day after Thanksgiving Brown Friday because family gatherings can put too much demand on a home's sewer system. From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, it's business as usual at Bailey's Restaurants. Despite a bankruptcy filing, Owner Dave Bailey says the Chapter 11 filing is to protect the restaurant's 2 Rooster locations, Bailey's Range, Bailey's Chocolate Bar, and the Bridge Tap House. Bailey's Restaurants has faced lawsuits over its Rooster location in Clayton, which closed, and a Central West End sandwich shop that never opened. We'll check traffic and weather in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
What's up, Missouri? Tony Gonzalez here. I've spent a lot of Sundays right here playing in front of the best fans in football. And now it's almost your turn to get in the game because DraftKings Sportsbook is coming to the Show Me State on December 1st. Soon you'll get fast payouts when you win, a safe and secure app that's easy to use, and promos that keep the action going all season long. It's America's top-rated sportsbook app. New customers can sign up right now and score $300 in bonus bets on launch day, December 1st.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KMOX. New Missouri customers, sign up today and score $300 in bonus bets once we're live. That's code KMOX. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
In sports, it's the dream team. And if your car is out of warranty, there's a team for that as well. You, the driver, your mechanic, and Endurance to pay for the repair bills. I'm Danica Patrick. In the past 5 years, auto repair costs have gone up over 36%. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all. With an Endurance auto protection plan, no matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done by the certified mechanic of your choice. Plans cover 24/7 towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, and lockout services. Act now and get the benefits of our Elite Plan, a $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again. So call now for your free quote.
Call 800-293-8030. That's 800-293-8030. 800-293-8030.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 8:10. Let's see how things are moving on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, great, with just a few exceptions, Megan. North County, we have a little bit of a jam up right now. Westbound 270 from 367 up to Old Halls Ferry. It looks like it was an earlier vehicle fire. They got it out. When I saw it, it was just smoking briefly, but then steam as they put it out. But the right lanes are still closed, and that's why it's backed up at 367. Northbound 55 still a little heavy into 67 down in the Festus area. And then we still have Manchester Road closed just east of Barrett Station for that early morning crash that happened over 2 hours ago. Manchester eastbound being diverted onto southbound Barrett Station at Doherty Ferry to go eastbound from there. And westbound Manchester is being diverted into the Sam's Club parking lot to get back on westbound Manchester at that point. Otherwise, the rest of these interstates continue to move along nicely. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Very windy today, much cooler than yesterday with sunshine and some clouds. Our high about 45. Partly cloudy and cold tonight, but the wind will steadily diminish, low 29. Tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day, will turn out mostly sunny, breezy, and quite chilly, the high 44. Friday, sunshine mixing with clouds and cold, the high 40. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We do have cloudy skies this morning, 39 degrees in Florissant. It's 38 in St. Peters, 37 downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, and you're listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. Our next guest says St. Louis should be a significantly larger region today, yet birth rates are no longer making up for people moving away. In studio with me now, Ness Sandoval, professor of demography and sociology at St. Louis University. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for inviting me.
You've basically looked at several factors: birth rates, death rates, and then migration. What overall are you seeing happen over the decades?
So part of this research started with the basic premise. What happens when a region has more people dying and babies born? You can only grow through migration. So I started to go back through 1970 and try to get a sense of, did this ever happen? And what the research shows is that almost all of our growth that we've experienced from 1970 to 2020 came from the number of babies born to people dying. And when you look at the sheer amount of growth, we should be a region, we should still be a top 20 region, and we should be a region larger than 3 million residents, but we're not. And so what this research indicates is that for the past 55 years, more people have left our region than have moved in. We just haven't seen it because we had so many babies born. It was able to offset that loss. But now we're in a different era where we don't have enough babies born to offset the loss of deaths, let alone the offset of the number of people who leave every year relative to people coming in. And it's not major losses each year, but they add up over. If you have 5,000 every year net loss of people leaving, over 10 years, that's 50,000 people. In addition to now more people dying and babies born, you're going to lose population both ways.
Now, when you say, there's not as many babies being born, that to me says, do we not have the young families here in the St. Louis region anymore?
We don't. We actually, what has happened over from 1970 to 2020, because the region grew through natural growth, we did not get younger as a region. We have aged in place. And when you age in place, your population is now, the large number of the people living here are outside of that range of where you would have children. Our region, our 15 county MSA, is now the 9th oldest region in the country. And so you can just see it in the number of residents 62 and over, that growth. Roughly 23% of our residents today are 62 and over, compared to 17% in 2010. So we're getting older. We have, as a region ourselves, our birth rates have fallen dramatically over the past few years. And so we're one of the regions that has the lowest birth rates in the country. And so it's a perfect storm that's lining up. We can try to change this around. We can get younger, but the region needs to become a destination place for young people moving around the U.S. where they're looking for the American dream. And right now, no part of our region can do this by itself. It has to be a collaborative effort to make St. Louis a destination for young Americans moving.
Are there other cities that are successfully doing that, and how?
There are. So Detroit's one example where they were in a fairly similar circumstance of St. Louis. One would argue they were in a much worse circumstance than St. Louis a decade ago. But there's been a renaissance in Detroit, and young people across the country who are urbanist want to live in these cities that are thriving again, where there's a very exciting downtown lifestyle. And that's what is Detroit today. Detroit still has some demographic issues around its suburbs, but the downtown itself is going through a revitalization that's attractive to young people.
What about
In
Kansas?
Detroit had more people dying and babies born just a few years ago. Now it has more babies born than people dying. So they were able to actually turn this around in a couple years.
That's pretty amazing. What about Kansas City? I know you've recently looked at Kansas City.
Yeah, so Kansas
population.
City is a much younger region. It's growing. So it's still growing both ways. It has more people moving to the region than people leaving, and it has more babies born than people dying. Kansas City will eventually face this circumstance that St. Louis is facing, but they have probably 30 years before this really confronts them as a region.
Where do we get these new people from?
So they are moving. Every year we can see people are leaving Dallas, they're leaving Philadelphia, Boston, and they're actually coming to St. Louis. We just don't get them in the larger numbers that we need. And we actually, when we get, let's say we get 60 households from Dallas, we send 65 households to Dallas. So we actually lose when we compete with Dallas. We do pretty good against Chicago. We do really good against New York. So we get more people coming from New York to live here than people from St. Louis going to New York. We do pretty good against some of these bigger East and West Coast cities. But we have to get, these numbers have to be much larger. So Kansas City does a far better job of getting larger numbers of people coming from Dallas there than we do. So we have to really work and be intentional and go to those markets, and especially young people who are finding Dallas to be very expensive or Houston to be very, these cities are very expensive today. And so you're going to see young Americans leave Texas. They're going to be leaving Phoenix, and they're going to be looking for that city that's going to be able to promise them the American dream.
If we don't stop this stagnation and decline, what's going to happen, especially with an aging population here?
The region will be confronted with some difficult challenges. You will reorganize your region from a region around families and children to a region around senior citizens. And so there are consequences, and we can actually look. There are many regions in the United States where this is happening, and they're struggling with their budgets. They're struggling with providing care for seniors who lose their ability to drive. You see more and more resources being directed from families with children to senior citizens. And so this is something that happens in regions that age in place. You tend to have to spend your money in different places. And so it's something that the region needs to take seriously, because when you're senior, you also become dependent. In the same way you're dependent when you have children under 5, you're just providing different types of services.
Are there any pockets in our region that are bucking this trend?
Well, one could say St. Charles. So you look at St. Charles, it is growing, but St. Charles is aged in place. And so the St. Charles today is not St. Charles of 2000. Majority of the growth in St. Charles are senior citizens. And so there is one county that actually looks like a county you would find in a growing area, and that's Lincoln County. It's got a very young age distribution. It has more babies born than people dying, but Lincoln County is still a very small county. And I think part of what's happening is that a lot of young families that were destined to live in St. Charles are now being pushed out to Lincoln County because of senior citizens moving to St. Charles who are pushing that younger family out in terms of an open real estate market. It's very difficult for young families to compete with senior citizens who are buying homes with cash.
Interesting. Well, Ness, thank you so much for your time this morning. Really appreciate you coming into the studio.
My pleasure.
That is Ness Sandoval. He is a professor of demography and sociology at St. Louis University. Coming up next, we're going to look at how much alcohol you might drink during the holidays and what that's going to do to your body. First, though, let's check the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're doing pretty well for most area motorists, Megan. This traffic report is the service of financial and tax strategies. If you're traveling through North County right now, westbound Highway 270, we had that vehicle fire earlier at Old Halls Ferry. They got the fire out, but I think they're waiting for the tow truck now, so the right lanes are still blocked. And we still have a backup at about 367 on westbound 270, a jam running through there right now. Other than that, interstate highways a little slow, 55 at 67 northbound down in Festus, no big deal. And we still have the restrictions on Manchester Road. It's still closed just east of Barrett Station, eastbound Manchester being diverted south on the Barrett Station to Doherty Ferry, westbound Manchester being diverted into the Sam's Club parking lot to get around that restriction from the early morning serious crash. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. It's windy and cooler today. We should see some sunshine, but mostly clouds today, a high of 45. Partly cloudy and cold with diminishing winds tonight, a low of 29. And then for Thanksgiving Day, should be mostly sunny, breezy, but chilly, a high of 44. Currently, we have cloudy skies, 37 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
Retirement shouldn't feel like balancing a checkbook while blindfolded. I'm Gary Goldberg, and my team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestatetematters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Swapping out your tires? There's nothing like it. With eBay, you can find the feel you're looking for, from smooth highway rides to grip for rough terrain. Get all the tires you need at prices you'll love. eBay, things people love.
As we head into the holidays, a lot of you may be taking in a little more alcohol than you might otherwise if you're heading to some holiday parties. So let's find out what that does to your body and what you need to know. I've brought in Michelle Wilson. She is a registered dietitian with Brands Nutrition. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So what does alcohol do to our bodies?
Alcohol is a toxin, so it's going to have some negative impacts depending on the amount. The poison is in the dose, as they say, and it can negatively impact our liver first and foremost, but it also can mess with our GI system. Some people might have some diarrhea or something, or vomiting, especially after a night of heavy drinking. There's definitely a lot of ways it can negatively impact our body.
So if you have those symptoms, for example, can that deplete some of the nutrients in your system?
Absolutely. So alcohol consumption can actually reduce the amount of bioavailability of some types of micronutrients. So it can cause reduced nutrition absorption for thiamine or B1, B12, folic acid, and zinc. And also, whenever we are throwing up or having diarrhea, we're losing a lot of fluid, and alcohol is already dehydrating because your body's trying to get rid of toxins and it needs to use a lot of fluid to do that. So you're going to be very dehydrated as well.
Is there any difference between, for example, like a beer or some kind of distilled spirit?
There is going to be a difference in the density. So the beer might have, it has like that carbonation and a lot more fluid in it. But the alcohol content is going to be much higher in a distilled spirit than a beer. And with that, it's going to have a little bit more of a load to it. So the portions are definitely going to be way different whenever it comes to beer versus alcohol. But also the alcohol itself calorically is pretty dense.
That was what I was going to ask you next, is I don't think people always calculate the calories that they're taking in when they're drinking alcohol.
Yeah. So something that the general public might not know is that alcohol calorically is actually closer to fat than it is to carbs or protein. So it is pretty dense in and of itself, and it doesn't really have much nutrient benefit to it. It's just the alcohol that's providing the calories. It doesn't have any carbs or protein or fat. So it doesn't have the energy from those main macronutrients that we need, but it also doesn't really have micronutrients involved either. So we have this calorically dense substance that isn't providing nutrition.
Wow. So your body is really processing it in a very different way.
Yes, it absolutely processes it differently. We absorb it in our stomach rather than our small intestine. And then it's processed as a toxin rather than something that our body wants to keep. And then even the digestive enzymes, when breaking it down, can shift, especially if you are a chronic drinker or a regular binge drinker, then it tries to break it down differently and shifts those processes too.
What about wine? Is it any different than those two?
So what I've heard whenever it comes to wine is that, it provides antioxidants. And really, that's just the grapes. So, I mean, yes, we have the added benefits of it having grapes involved, but we can get the same benefits from drinking grape juice.
Okay. So what do you recommend as a dietitian to people? Because people do like to have a drink every once in a while.
I recommend making sure that you're adequately fueling your body. So definitely don't be skipping any meals or snacks in order to drink. I've heard of people before trying to reduce down the amount they're eating to be able to fit in the drinks they plan on drinking. But the risk with this is that digestive process. So if you skip a meal and then drink some alcohol, then it really hits your system hard because it absorbs it differently. And then stay very hydrated whenever you're consuming alcohol. Even getting hydrated before you start drinking and then swapping out with water or mocktails or other things to rotate in throughout the evening. And then trying to limit the amount that you're drinking as well. Going in with a plan of the amount that you plan on having. With women, it actually should be a limit of 1 per day. And with men, it's 2. And anything beyond that is considered binging. So it's something to definitely keep in mind because that is not a limit that a lot of people put on themselves.
Especially not at holiday parties. No.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. Well, Michelle, thank you for the guidelines. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. No problem.
That is Michelle Wilson, registered dietitian with Brands Nutrition Counseling, joining us this morning here on KMOX. It's now 8:28. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
There is nothing like watching Thanksgiving football, but for football fans in Missouri, this year FanDuel is about to make it even better. With points giving, all FanDuel customers in Missouri get $1 in bonus bets for every point scored in the Chiefs-Cowboys game. So, for example, if the final score is 24-21, you'd get $45 in bonus bets. Doesn't matter if you've already signed up for FanDuel or if you've been waiting for the right moment to join. Just head to FanDuel.com/Missouri to get in on the action in Missouri. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri to score bonus bets for every point in the Chiefs-Cowboys game. Enjoy a football feast with points giving on FanDuel, coming soon to Missouri. 21 and over and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Are you tired of online threats? Then get an antivirus. It's the only online protection you will ever need.
Disclaimer: an antivirus is just half protection online. It will not protect you from snoopers or encrypt your online traffic. So this Black Friday, get better online protection with NordVPN. NordVPN will encrypt your traffic, protect you from malware and phishing, and stop annoying ads. Get the NordVPN Black Friday deal with 73% off and enjoy 3 extra months.
8:30. Let's get you updated on the roads with Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, it looks like the flatbed's on the scene loading up that car from the earlier vehicle fire. They only have just the right lane blocked now, westbound 270 before Old Halls Ferry. Traffic still jammed at 367, but only one lane block now, and so it's getting through a little more easily. The jam not quite as extensive. Other than that, as I've been saying, the rest of these interstates are wide open for you and are in great shape. We still have our closure. Manchester Road still closed east of Barrett Station. Eastbound drivers being diverted onto Barrett Station, southbound to Doherty Ferry. Westbound drivers on Manchester just being diverted into the Sam's Club parking lot to cut back over onto westbound Manchester. Just short delays in both directions there due to that crash that happened almost 3 hours ago now. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by the Moolah Shrine Center Festival of Trees.
Hello, everyone. I want to invite you to the Moolah Festival of Trees. Come see over 40 of the best decorated trees you'll ever see. Adult tickets are only $2 and kids under 12 are free. November 22nd through the 29th at the Moolah Shrine Center.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, it's windy and cooler today. A mix of sun and clouds, a high 45. Partly cloudy and cold tonight with an overnight low of 29. We have cloudy skies now, 37 degrees in downtown St. Louis. We hear a lot about how the economy is impacting consumers. What will they do over the holidays? I wanted to ask KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz. He's a professor in the Chaffetz School of Business at St. Louis University. Jerry, I know you have been looking at the numbers. What are retailers expecting right now when it comes to spending over the holiday season?
Well, the good news for the retailers is that they're talking about a 4% increase over last year in terms of the number of dollars involved. That's going to take us over $1 trillion, which is what everyone's been hearing about. The thing about that is between the increase in cost and tariffs and the inflation rate just in general, that 4% is really only 2% new sales compared to last year. It's still positive, but not as positive as the $1 trillion and 4% will make it seem.
How are retailers planning for the holiday season? Are they cutting back in any way?
They really are, and it's happening in a couple different ways. A lot of retailers, customers are going to find that electronics are in great supply. Everyone pretty much has everything and lots of different things. There'll be really deep discounts there. Clothing is a little different. A lot of that clothing is imported. A lot of the importers weren't sure how much to bring in given the tariffs. So you may find that the number of sizes, the number in each size is a little bit less. The inventories are skimpier on clothing than it is for electronics.
Do you have any creative shopping ideas or tips for us that you picked up looking for this?
Well, one thing is think about shopping more online. It used to be that online stores and in-store prices were very different. These days, most of the big retailers have the same price whether you pay in person or online, which means you may be able to cover a lot more stores online than you've ever been able to before. The other thing is that think about things like the pantry prestige. Giving a family a premium ham for Christmas guarantees that they're going to be eating well for a couple of meals. And there are all sorts of other kinds of things about stacking. It's called stacking savings, combining the deal, loyalty points, and rewards to give you low prices in holiday shopping.
Jerry, thanks for the tips and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. Have a great week.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. They would like me to wish you all very happy holidays. I'll let you know that not only are they still working, but they're very busy, but they have time for you. Zero Res has been with me now for the better part of 20 years. I've used them a dozen times. My friends and family have used them dozens of times. I've never heard anything but glowing responses from DGS listeners. They can do your wall-to-wall carpets. They can do area rugs. They can do upholstery. They can do dryer vents. They can do air ducts. And they're having a very special offer, a Black Friday offer. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119. $75 off your air duct cleaning. So it's a great deal, great people. Call 314-474-2020. You can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Just let them know you heard about them on the DGS.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-269-3454. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-269-3454 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-269-3454 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-269-3454.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's John Tucker.
The largest American public healthcare companies outperformed other industries in the third quarter as higher new and specialty drug use, continued demand for weight loss drugs, and strong hospital visit trends boosted earnings. Among the 11 industry categories in the S&P 500, healthcare companies delivered the highest percentage of earnings beats in that period. Well, more jobs lost to artificial intelligence. HP delivering a profit outlook for the current year that fell short of estimates. The company also saying it will cut 4,000 to 6,000 employees through fiscal 2028 by using more AI tools. And McKinsey has cut 200 global tech jobs in the past week. The consulting firm joins rivals in using artificial intelligence to automate some of its positions. The stock futures climbing as elevated expectations for interest rate cuts help sustain traders' newfound optimism into the Thanksgiving holiday. I'm John Tucker, Bloomberg Radio.
At Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, every moment with our patients is a gift. This holiday season, you can be the reason children have hope as they fight serious illness and reach milestones once thought impossible. Your gift provides life-saving care to those who need it most. Please donate today at treeofhope.org and be the reason a child has hope for tomorrow.
Looking for some iced caffeine, left you in the cold. No one knows why brown water costs as much as liquid gold. Told him your name was Brian, why does this cup say Nicole? But then you found paradise in your cup at the Quick Trip. No regrets to start your day.
Hey, just check the mail. We've been invited to a seminar and dinner is free.
It's going to be chicken, and it'll taste like Play-Doh.
Don't be fooled. All seminars are not the same. For example, Steve All, an investment advisor representative and founder of the All Financial Group, is hosting a taxes and retirement seminar at his office in Chesterfield on December 10th. Come meet Steve's newest advisor, Tracy Richardson, as she discusses the big beautiful bill, taxes on your Social Security, and more. Tracy will not only cover the hurdles you can face in retirement, but ways to keep more money in your pocket and less in Uncle Sam's. This is a complimentary event, but seating is limited, so reserve your seat today. Call 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
You know, hon, I've always been interested in us buying a timeshare.
I'd rather eat Play-Doh.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
This is 104.1 FM, KMOX. Here's what's happening. Democratic lawmakers who appeared in a social media video urging U.S. troops to defy illegal orders say the FBI has now contacted them to begin interviews. The latest figures show U.S. consumers were much less confident in the economy in November in the aftermath of the government shutdown. And 2,000 people were asked how long they are happy to host house guests. The consensus was 6 days. For parents, it's 8. For in-laws, it's only 5. Let's check the roads once more with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, they still have the right lane blocked on westbound 270 North County. The flatbed on the scene from that earlier car fire. This traffic reports the service of the Pauley Agency. So there's still just a little bit of a delay. Westbound 270, more just a slowdown right through that old Hallsbury area. It really doesn't look that bad now. Other than that, the rest of the highways continue to cruise. I see a little bit of a roadwork delay. This is the last day of scheduled emergency repair work on eastbound 5570 at 157. The left lane's closed, and the on-ramp from 157 to eastbound 5570 closed. It's slow back close to 255. And, of course, we still have the restrictions. Manchester Road still shut down east of Barrett Station, both directions, due to the earlier crash. So there's short delays there. Eastbound diverted onto southbound Barrett Station, westbound diverted into the Sam's Club parking lot. There's also a backup westbound and eastbound, but more so westbound at Enchanted Parkway. That could be signal problems. In a world of cookie-cutter health plans, the Pauley Agency is proud to represent coverage that's tailor-made to fit your needs. The Pauley Agency puts the sure in insurance. For a free quote, call 636-222-2149. That's 636-222-2149. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Windy and cooler today, mix of sun and clouds, a high of 45. We do have 37 degrees now downtown at the Arch. The state of Illinois recently balked at use of license plate readers by immigration officials. Now, more lawmakers across the country are questioning it. Let's bring in KMOX legal analyst Brad Young for our weekly chat. He's a partner at Harris, Young & Kaiser. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning, Megan.
So apparently these lawmakers are questioning the legality of a U.S. Border Patrol program. It's predictive intelligence They say it singles out and detains drivers for suspicious travel inside the country. What are your thoughts on whether this is a threat to privacy or civil liberties?
Megan, this is a great case to talk about a clash of two different ideas. One is what's called the plain view doctrine, meaning that police don't need a warrant if they see something in plain view. If you're parked next to at a stoplight next to a police officer and you're not wearing a seatbelt, that police officer can pull you over because he can clearly see that you're not wearing a seatbelt. And that also goes to weapons or drugs or other things that may be in the car. But then on the other side, there's this case, it's called US versus Carpenter. And it goes back to 2018 that says if the government is using, in that case, it was cell towers to track a person's mobility, where they go, who they see, where they stay, how long they're at a certain place, by using that information, that becomes an invasion of privacy, even though you're always in plain view. So this case pits those two ideas together. And what's interesting is when it comes to Border Patrol, under federal law, within 100 miles of the U.S. border, the courts recognize reduced privacy expectations in this zone because you're there crossing the border, you have a reduced expectation of privacy. So if these activities are going on within 100 miles of the border, courts are probably going to allow it. But once you're going beyond that 100-mile zone around a U.S. border, then the courts are going to start looking very carefully at whether these license plate readers are actually tracking movement or just taking a snapshot data of information. That will make the difference as to whether this is or is not legal.
We'll continue to follow that. Another one that I'm sure people will be interested in today, Brad, is Taylor Swift fans and that action they're trying to take against Live Nation and Ticketmaster for how ticket sales were handled for her Eras tour. A judge says that suit can move ahead. So do you feel like this is a legitimate lawsuit?
It is a very legitimate lawsuit, especially if you ask my daughter, who's a Swiftie. This is a big deal. But seriously, this case could actually redefine how tickets are purchased in this country. Here's what's going on. When Live Nation merged with Ticketmaster, it created the potential for a monopoly. In this country, monopolies are disfavored because it reduces service and it increases prices. And that's what we've seen on this Eras tour, is that it was hard to get tickets. And when you did, there were lots of hidden fees. The evidence already in this case shows that Ticketmaster Live Nation controls 80% of the live tours in this country, and they do so with contracts and exclusive arrangements. I really do see that the court will bust this up. The only question is, how will they do it? Will they simply require, or rather prevent or forbid Live Nation from having these exclusive contracts, or will they order the breakup of Live Nation Ticketmaster? To me, that's the big issue here.
And it's interesting because sometimes in these lawsuits, people look at, well, is there going to be a payout to the fans? But it sounds like what you're saying is this could really change the practices of these companies and possibly others.
Absolutely. This is not one of those class action lawsuits that we've all been involved with where there's a $20 million settlement and everybody gets $1. All right. This is not one of those cases. This is literally going at the heart of whether or not Ticketmaster, Live Nation, whether or not that's anti-capitalistic behavior, whether it's a monopoly. And if so, the court is more interested in making sure that customers who are buying tickets have a fair access to concerts and have reasonable expectation of prices. That will be where people will see the difference, particularly in those areas of hidden fees.
Now, for these Swifties, let's talk about how slowly the legal process moves. This could probably take years to play out, I'm assuming.
Yes, it absolutely could, because the amount of evidence that has to be brought to court in an antitrust case is enormous. I mean, attorneys will spend their careers on cases like this. We saw that with the Microsoft case and with the Google case. So this will take a while, but I do expect some degree of relief from the courts here. It's just a matter, from my perspective, it's just a matter of how far the courts will go to remedy this monopoly situation.
Brad, thanks for your insights this morning.
My pleasure, and happy Thanksgiving.
You as well. That is KMOX legal analyst Brad Young, partner at Harris Young and Kaiser. He joins us every Wednesday morning here on Total Information AM. Coming up next, more shoppers want to hold an actual catalog in their hands again. We'll have that.
Let Banner Construction show you what a difference James Hardy can make to your home. Banner's exterior design team will show you custom design options to transform your home into the neighborhood showplace. Banner is a preferred James Hardy and Pella Windows specialist. With winter just around the corner, now is the time to think about Pella Windows for energy efficiency and comfort. Call Banner Construction 314-569-1050 to schedule your free in-home consultation, or the website bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
KMOX, celebrating 100 years. Presented by Purina. Your pet, our passion. Now, a KMOX pioneer.
For nearly half a century, Jack Buck was the unmistakable sound of St. Louis. His warm storytelling and unforgettable calls transformed baseball on the radio. From Cardinals championships to the everyday heartbeat of the season, Jack's voice became part of life in St. Louis.
It's the great American pastime, baseball. It's not just a game invented for athletes who can run from home to first in 4 seconds. It's a game made for kids and played by kids.
Beyond baseball, he was a full-range broadcaster. Buck hosted the station's At Your Service and Sports Open Line programs. He was a storyteller whose humor and humility resonated with fans far beyond the ballpark. Jack Buck, a KMOX pioneer.
For residential and commercial heating repairs, service, maintenance, or installation, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. With over 50 years of HVAC service, get in your comfort zone this winter. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
This holiday season, experience the power, the intensity, the legendary sound of Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Coming to Enterprise Center for 2 shows, December 23rd at 3 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. A portion of the proceeds from the 3 p.m. show benefits Sightman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, 2 shows, Enterprise Center, December 23rd. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
You're back with Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Earlier this year, we told you about research showing that consumers raised in the digital age are craving a return of touch. What do they want in the way of tactile shopping experiences at the holidays? Let's get an update this morning on those surveys by Quad and the Harris Poll from Chief Marketing Officer at Quad, Josh Golden. He works with marketers around the world. Josh, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Megan. Thrilled to be here.
What did you hear from consumers about what they want this year?
Well, it's funny that the research we did all about the return of touch really speaks about this overwhelming shift, or the pendulum swinging back from where it was in the sort of the post-pandemic, role of everything was digital, and now there's this momentum back. And so we just did some more research into that particular topic around the holidays in particular, and the research was resoundingly clear how much people wanting to get back into the physical store. 74% of them say in-person shopping even sparks the holiday spirit. It extends all the way to catalogs that you receive at your house. And that holiday spirit allows for people to feel like, oh, it's time for the holidays. It's the actual experience of walking in the mall or, at a shopping experience that gives you that feeling of the holidays. Plus Mariah Carey. That's the added benefit there, of course.
Yeah, right. We'll hear that song enough, won't we? What are people saying about Black Friday this year, though?
Yeah, the research is interesting on this, that 74% of Americans dismiss Black Friday as hype rather than actual savings, which I got to tell you, I think I focus over one. I kind of agree, where 84% from the research suggests that the retailers' deals, they prefer for the retailers' deals to be spread through November and December, allowing them to have a sort of more organic time where they're going, and this is the holiday season. Black Friday is losing a little bit of its focus. I actually think that is the retailers that have done that, really the digital retailers, that have created a Prime Day or the Target Day or some moment where it's, another day of shopping celebration. So I think it's been softening the impact of a Black Friday moment. And also the sort of a little bit of the questioning, is it actually savings or is it just the moment that I'm going to buy?
Josh, you mentioned this at the opening, and I thought this was one of the most fascinating parts of this study was catalog shopping, as in a catalog you get in the mail as part of this experience. What did you hear from people?
Well, this is me too. I'm in this group. When I receive a catalog, and this is even more exaggerated for the Gen Z audience, they find it to be an experience, a quieting, relaxing, uninterrupted experience that allows them to have the benefit and the halo of that brand extend all the way from the retailer that exists in a brick and mortar space, all the way into your house. So the world of catalogs, in particular, allows you to have that holiday feeling, but also it allows for a quiet moment of solitude that you're not getting the bings and the bongs from your cell phone, but you're able to really sort of dive more deeply into a piece of content you can tangibly engage with. I happen to watch my mother-in-law and my daughter, so Gen Z to baby boomer, engaging over a catalog. They're both flipping through it together. It was interesting to see that they were having a moment of togetherness around a catalog.
You mentioned the generations. So did you see differences in generations on how they intend to shop this year online versus brick and mortar?
Well, the shopping behavior we didn't totally cover as much as we covered the interest of being in person, but we did see a tremendous difference. To be honest, I was fully expecting Gen Xers and baby boomers from the beginning of this research to highlight the value of getting something tangibly to engage with. But Gen Z blew out everything that we thought to be true about the being so digitally focused. Actually, they are they're on their coffee tables because they might not have the cash for a coffee book, but they have the opportunity to say, this is a brand that represents me. So they keep that content in their house. We believe the pendulum continuing to swing from the digital back to the physical is something that we're going to see specifically with Gen Z, because the world was so digitized and now they're looking for those tangible experiences in store.
How can businesses capitalize on this?
This is the big one. I believe that the world in which we're living is now shifting, and I think that the opportunity to have both a digital and a physical experience with the digital. So people are using flow codes so they can connect their physical experience to your phone. So you're capturing the audience that's coming to the store and then moving them onto their phone so you can have a longer engagement with them. Also, if you can extend that experience from the store to a home, that is even a stronger and more important thing for brands to remember. It doesn't, the bounds of your store do not limit the bounds of your brand experience.
Josh, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, and happy holidays.
Same to you. Thanks so much for having me.
That is Josh Golden, Chief Marketing Officer at Quad. And I do look forward to curling up with a few catalogs that actually they sent me. And it's not just the touch. Remember the smell of catalogs, the smell of that paper and the printing? So yeah, I'm going to curl up with some of those over the Thanksgiving holiday. Hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'll be back Friday. We're going to get the latest snapshot of the regional economy from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. They always look at things like the job market, manufacturing, and retail. So we'll give you that coming up Friday morning here on KMOX.
Happy Thanksgiving Eve, and just in time for the holiday, we'll chat with Dr. Catherine Athens, a psychologist who will help you survive those uncomfortable conversations at the dinner table. Plus, CBS Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett joins us a day early. It all starts at 9 a.m. on The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Gum disease is connected to brain damage. Two